And Toy Daddies, TPC and Toy Daddies.
What's up, fellas? I have to say, I came up with a little thing. My favorite part of the upcoming guest that we're going to talk about is not only like the toy that we'll eventually get in our hands, but the freaking commercial with people playing with the toys, just like the old days. I can't wait to talk about this commercial, all of the things.
That should have been our cold opening. That should have been our cold opening.
When you thought of that, was it during the song?
It was during the song, and I went, smash, 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 smash. Now kiss. Just kidding. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the ToyPic community. We are the Toy Daddies. Welcome back, everybody. We've been having a blast. We have a special guest, so we want to get right to it. But this could very well be the past home of the Toy Daddy ToyPic community. I'm still dropping hints for a little announcement whenever we get there, but we're not there yet because we have a very, very awesome guest tonight.
I'm not following.
Day, are we doing that this coming? We should probably tell people if it's happening.
Oh, absolutely. We're changing, right?
We are changing. Yeah. All right, you want to just do it? Can we tell it? Are we starting Monday?
Do it.
All right.
I think we should be plugging.
We should. I agree. So before we bring on our special guest today, so we know, and we've been a part of the Wednesday night toy tubing, just awesomeness that is on Wednesdays. And we are now at a phase as we are continuing to adjust what we do here as the Toy Daddies. And yes, we are going to switch our night starting on Monday, September 30th. It is September 30th.
Not
right.
September 3rd.
Yes. So I will continue to remind you on Sunday night on my stream. We'll do little announcements just to remind you. And of course, we'll blast all of Instagram. But yes, Monday, everybody. We're moving. Toy Daddy's moving to a new time and location.
Yep.
Monday.
And it's also exciting.
Maybe same time? Same time? I don't even know
anymore.
Same location, different time.
There you go. Yeah. You guys know. This is why I needed your help. But anyway, fellas.
Hold on. One other thing, too. I know what you're thinking. Maybe for 7 of you who watched Toy Talk. Toy Talk is not going anywhere, but we're going to change that format. We're going to be meeting up once a week on this channel, maybe on a Wednesday, and we're going to be deciding some monthly themes. It's going to be kind of a get-together, and it's going to be an adventure. It's going to be a lot of fun with some of our favorites, Toy 17, Clintastic 4, Unworthy Collector, and many, many more. So we're really excited to do that.
Said once a month, not once a week.
Did I say once a month? Sorry, once a month.
Once a week would be a lot, but once a month. Yes.
And this is all about like thinking how we stream, but also thinking about our rest too.
Yeah, rest. Also, like, again, we know how many of our ToyPic members go and try to support and enjoy all the various streams. This will maybe make Wednesday nights a little easier on everybody, and then come over and join us on Mondays. Again, spreading the love,
the week,
spreading the smiles
the Toy
throughout
Daddies.
the week. That's what I'm talking about. So laugh our way on Sunday nights into a welcome Monday. But guys, we have to get our guest in because I know that I feel his energy already brewing from the backstage area. So everybody, we have another fantastic Kickstarter campaign from Dave Igo, our special guest. Hit us with Dave. I was waiting for the monsters.
I'm really offended because you're like, we'll bring you in right away. Then you throw that curveball of guys.
That was a curveball. Sorry.
Yeah,
that was
new. Should we say? Should we not say? Should we say? I don't even know what you're talking about. And the big news is
it was the last second. I went.
The day.
Have you seen how my brain works?
Show, and I don't know what they're talking about. I'm like, Yimbo, what are you talking about?
Great. I thought you were like, dude, we're merging with this other community. We're doing this. We're bringing our name. Like, we're moving from what?
Yeah, I was like, secret. Oh man, was I in this was I in the phone call? I don't remember.
Was this while I was away?
I was expecting like the ex-Marvel guys forming Image Comics, or
That's not that cool.
something.
Nope.
I'm offended.
Oh well,
I
you know
didn't
what?
know about the surprise. I'm supposed to be the special guest.
Well, you are no,
And I
you are.
found out with everyone else. Not
Dave.
I didn't
cool.
want to. I just wanted to get the
Not
info
cool,
out
Yimbo,
there.
not cool.
Aw.
No, you are special, Dave.
Dave, you're
Thanks.
That's why
super
you're here.
special. Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
I'm the
You're
second
cracking me
day.
up.
I'm the first guest you've had the same name of twice in a row.
And
Yeah,
you're
me-
also the last guest we're having on Wednesday because we're
That's
switching over
right.
to Monday. Did you
Dude.
get that announcement in the beginning?
Okay, there we go. I'm happy now. I'm
Yeah.
happy now. I'm a double threat.
Yes.
So-
People watching, just in case we do a trivia show next month to celebrate also our 100th episodes, that might be a question.
There you go. There you go. I love it.
What?
By the way, I
When did we
see
use
Josh.
the stream?
They can
I
go
see
back.
Josh Brown in the chat. Just want to shout out Josh for
That
know.
guy.
it manifesting us hanging out all right now. So this is awesome, man.
It did. Where do we start?
Let's
Oh,
go.
I thought you were jumping right in, Christopher. Come on, man.
You want? Okay, all right.
We have 18,
So, hey, the best-
18
the
years,
best-
right, Dave, of history
but-
that we can dissect with you. We have 18
Oh,
toy years.
I mean, you can go in all 41 and a half, if
Oh,
you want to go
nice.
back pre.
Ooh,
So
6-year-old Dave.
Walk,
Let's hear
walk
that.
us through your toy origin. Walk us through your career. It's actually super, super interesting in terms of how you got to Monsters. So
Yeah, so I mean, I'm 41 and a half years old. We were talking about that earlier. Like,
you
just
said
feeling
42.
old. I turned 42 in February, so 41 and a half. Round up 42. Basically,
Got
I'm 40. Basically, I'm 45. Round up, I'm gonna be turning 50 in a couple of years. Just there, it's there. So yeah, I
2
mean,
weeks from retirement.
yeah, just dude, the idea of, I feel bad for people. Not saying you guys are this way, but like, I'm very fortunate that the industry I'm in and what I do for a living, like, retirement isn't really like on my mind, because it's like, I love what I do. I love making statues. I love making toys. Hopefully the Kickstarter is successful. Hopefully it leads to more things. I mean, it is a side thing from my full-time job. I'm a full-time creative in the statue high-end collectibles industry. So I work for Tweeterhead as their creative director. I work on He-Man statues. Before that, I was at Sideshow Collectibles. Before that, I was at Gentle Giant Studios. I have 18 years making heavy resin stuff. As someone else once called it, painted rock, because it's kind of the same material. So it's heavy stuff.
fair.
And,
I guess.
yeah. So, I mean, I've been, like, since I was a little kid, since 4th grade. Like, I've been drawing since forever. But I remember it was 4th grade. We had a guest person come into our class and show us how to draw Batman using circles and squares and triangles. I was like, what is this? And I started drawing buff dudes. That's all I drew. Like, buff dudes. Someone showed me how to draw Batman. I'm like, cool.
Dude, all my my drawings are terrible. Just big coconut shoulders and
right?
big
Yeah.
inflated.
Yeah, that's all I drew. I tried drawing a chick. It was horrible. So I kept drawing dudes. Dave from Colorado Springs, I think my parents were like, is our son? Nah, he's fine. But it didn't matter. Like, they love me anyway. Not to get into like
I'm
that.
just imagining like the buffest, and also he's shirtless, but the buffest Batman being
Dude.
like tiny head, huge arms.
Yeah, I love. So a lot of my personal art on my personal account, which is at David Igo's stuff. There's a couple of weird things I post in there, but I love on my personal side, not Monsters, but I love bizarre, funny, weird stuff. I'm a huge like Ed Roth Rat Fink guy, and that's kind of like part of the DNA of Monsters. But I draw, like, I would totally draw that. Like, I like drawing fat Superman with skinny legs and these huge buff arms. People are like, what is this? I'm like, I don't know. Just this is what I want to. I haven't seen the Superman yet, so I drew the Superman. I digitally sculpted Godzilla with wings. I haven't seen a Godzilla with wings. I'm like, I want to see a Godzilla with wings. So I do that. So I like
That's
the
great.
weird, bizarre stuff, and that's probably part of like why I made Monsters.
Mhm.
Got a shirt with my Shamumu on
Oh,
it,
yeah.
drawn by Erwin Papa. I've been usually
Nice.
sporting the Monsters logo shirt, but I had to do laundry, so now you get awesome character art.
That's it. Yeah, that's a nice. I like
That's a
that.
good shirt.
Yeah. I've made a bunch. I have like 5 Monsters shirts, 2 Igo stuff shirts, and I have a Shamumu and a Sting Cobra shirt. So I'm like, you know what? I haven't sported one of these yet. So you guys, because I'm
Beautiful.
your special guest with a
Yes.
double hitter. I'm like, I want you guys to feel special, and I get a T-shirt I haven't worn on one of these things yet. So there you
Well
go.
done.
Just explain. Sorry, I felt like you're like, talk about you. I'm like, all right, and I just jumped all over the timeline like it's a movie. Marvel.
So it sounded like you started with drawing, and then were you
Chris,
Yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna tell Dave, like you and I specifically, like got into, like Chris and I got into toy photography. We've always said it because we had, like, I couldn't draw. Chris has said, like, in the past, like, so we got into this as a way of being able to showcase these ideas that we have, but not like, I love that you're able to then go that extra direction and again just come up with your interpretations. Like, we're doing stories and scenes, but like even your interpretations, like, that's so cool. And that's like, it's again, I went into photography. I never just sunk into art, man. Like,
have you ever thought about taking, I don't know if you guys have done this correct, like, forgive me if I haven't noticed, but like, take your toy photography, be like, you know what, I want that Batman toy I just took a photo of to have longer ears, go into Photoshop and liquefy, like, I want to make them bigger. Like, you guys should do that. Just like take a photo and like not just stick to like what that is, but just like, dude, the liquefy tool in Photoshop, you can like lengthen, bulge, pinch, like shrink the head down using transform. You can do some crazy fun. That'd actually be fun. I would love to take someone's favorite photo and Photoshop it what I see in my hand, just like play with what's there. So maybe that's something we do as like a follow-up. Or
that would be really
I like
cool.
that. I like that.
I will also admit though, Dave, that I shoot very, very much practically because I don't have those digital skills.
Yeah.
My photo, Chewy, you might be okay. You have the artist touch. Like, you could actually draw and you can, use Photoshop. I'm clueless.
It is super easy, Yimbo. I could show you how to use that tool. My son uses that tool. He's 6.
All right.
So.
I guess
dang, shots fired.
Yeah.
6-year-old can do
Jeez.
it.
Ouch.
In my face.
Well, he started when he was 4, so I'm just.
Well, I mean, like, No Chewing has shown us a couple of things of how to do it. And he's like, yeah, I'll just show you a video. He sends the video of how to do the practical effect on like Lightroom. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
I'm lost. I'll tell
I'm
him
like,
that too. I get lost.
still don't follow.
I don't know Lightroom.
How this
Yeah, I've been using
done.
Photoshop forever, so now it's like muscle memory to me. I'm like, oh, just and people are like, how'd you do that? It's like have you guys seen like the drawing the owl tutorial? It's like step 1, you draw a couple of circles, and then step 2, and it's a finished illustration. It's like draw the rest of the fucking owl, and that's all it is. With some circles to finish drawing, and that's how I feel with like a lot of tutorial. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What is Lightroom? You know?
So true. Just get me to the end. I don't know what you do in the middle, but
yeah. No.
So
idea.
you were talking about you started with drawing. It sounds like, I mean, I think your mind is always about creating. Did you start collecting toys, or was that something as an afterthought, or like were toys like a big part of your growing up into the industry?
They were huge. Like, I remember, like my parents got me toys. I remember the first big toy dump was because I was born in 83. So I was born as He-Man toys were kind of coming out. So I got more into like later stuff, like late 80s toys. But I remember getting a hand-me-down box from my cousin of all of his He-Man toys. It was like a giant box. It was all of his toys because he outgrew them. Mm-hmm. And I have a twin brother. So I was like, here's a box of toys for you and your brother. I was like, what is this? You know? And then like toys were always there. But then even when I was in junior high, I was like into, I think that's when I started getting to, junior high, I started getting to Spawn. And then it was in high school, I got my first job. And they're like, we'll pay you minimum wage, $5.15 an hour. I was like, that's so much money.
Yeah.
I could buy a toy every hour and a half of work. So
you guys remember when it was $5.35? It got raised? It was like, yes.
Yeah. So I worked in high school and I was buying McFarlane toys, like a ton of them. And that's my parents, they love me. That my childhood bedroom is still intact. So it's still like covered in McFarlane toys on the wall. I would buy every version of Spawn. Oh, hamburger head, Spawn unmasked, masked, regular. Oh, this modern head. Oh, blue. Oh, black. Oh, the green necroplasm. So those are all, and I would buy an extra of the main one, and then he would be out on the shelf. So I did that with like, I was a hardcore like completionist with McFarlane toys through high school, and I had like even like German variants with like a weird sticker on the packaging because that was like the thing to do. But
In package? You kept it in package, or you took it out, or?
yeah, no, that was one where like it was a unique variant because of the packaging, not because like
Oh,
so I would like Wave 8 German gold label, bleh, like I buy all those on eBay, get the whole set, put them up, be like, all right, here's the 5th version of this series I have because it has a different sticker. It was dumb. Like is like I like certain variants. I'm still so jumping around. I got back into collecting vintage stuff like in the last 5 years. And I'm definitely the guy that tries not to be a completionist, but I am not in terms of like a whole line. But like I love Merman, and I got into Motu international variants from the vintage stuff. So I have like 27 different Mermans because this is the one from Taiwan marked left. This is the one from Taiwan marked right. Oh, this is the one from Taiwan unmarked. Oh, this is the one from Brazil.
Brazil. I was gonna say, like, I remember hearing somebody talk about Brazil specific Motu.
Yeah. Dude, it's so that was a rabbit. Well, I'm a completionist for Merman now, and then I would get the Mexican bootlegs where they called him Felinor, like this Fuerza Z or whatever it's called. Like Top Toys made their own toy company, but they took all their He-Man molds, just pieced them together, gave them new paint, gave them new names, and it was like they're awesome. But like I got Felinor, which is Merman head with a hairy body, but with Merman armor, and he was black, and it's like cool. I'm like, that looks awesome. So I bought him, and it's like it just became a whole thing. And then I have Slash is my favorite Ninja Turtle, and I bought like the main. So I have like the yellow. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, but there's like the yellow belly variant, which is like the more expensive Slash of the. There's 3 of them, so I'll buy like 3 Slashes by trying to. I'm not like buy all the Ninja Turtles and every like all the whatever. It's just like I try to get more like within the line. Stand up, dang it. Sorry. This is why I made monsters not have leg articulation. They don't stand. Like what's the point of Ninja Turtle leg articulations? Like they just fall over.
Right.
Whole talk for another time. But just didn't want to figure them out. Anyways, like so yes, it was a part of my childhood. Part of like is where I have gaps. Like so childhood, then I would say like late elementary to early junior high. I wasn't like I can't remember like I was into these toys, but late junior high I started getting to Spawn. All of high school was Spawn and anime stuff and anything else I thought was cool. College, I couldn't afford anything, and I was so focused on art school I didn't buy any toys. And then late college I started to get back into McFarlane toys kind of. And then I got my first job in the industry and I stopped buying toys. I got into statues because I worked at a statue place. And then I didn't buy toys forever. And then I got back into toys like 4 or 5 years ago. So
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What was the toys? What was the toy that brought you back in?
What brought me back in? I think it was actually when I'm looking at all this stuff I got now, I'm like, oh yeah, this was. I forgot if I started buying the Motu classic stuff first, but this after they had like all come out. Like, so it was like I was late to the classics game. I can't remember if it was Motu classics or if it was the Trap Jaw international variant that had the Manny Faces arm. I forgot which country he's from, but I was like, that's crazy. It has a different body part and it's painted like Trap Jaw. So it was either, I think Motu Classics actually came first because I started doing work with Tweeterhead when I was still at Sideshow. And I was buying them as like reference inspiration. So I think that was kind of like my dipping my toes back into it, but that was still reference. And then it was this figure that like brought me back to my childhood. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And just went. So, yeah.
I have a question that kind of veers off this toy talk, but
I love it. Let's tangent. Let's go.
So we've had a lot of artists on our show and talked about like getting into the industry and how you really need to have a portfolio and you got to try and keep submitting your deadlines and submitting your work to different people, and then eventually you get the work and then you got to show yourself to be a true professional by meeting the deadlines and whatnot. Like, how is it for sculpting? Is it like the same type of process? Like, how do you get a job as a sculptor?
It like so I never had to apply for a job as a sculptor. I'm actually doing my first freelance job for another company where I kind of like saw this line of stuff they're doing. I know the guys that work there. I don't want to say what it is yet because we haven't announced it. And I was like, hey, Michael, like, has anyone, I want to do this character from this line. Is that cool? Can I design and sculpt? They're like, fuck, like, yeah, we'd love you to do it. I'm like, sweet. And I was just like, so I knew the guy because I've been in this industry for so long.
Sure.
But as a person at like Tweeterhead that hires sculptors and stuff, it usually just takes like someone to reach out to you, like, dude, I love what you do. And here's a link to my art station or my Instagram. And then I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is relevant to what we do at Tweeterhead. Some people hit me up and their portfolios like cute bunnies. I'm like, these are awesome, cute bunnies, but what do you think I would use you for at Tweeterhead? You know what I mean? It's like one of those, like, nothing that we do is like what you do. And then some people are like, no, but I can do anything. Give me a chance. It's like, that's not a risk I can take for this business. So you should take it in your free time and just do a project you think would do good, like in this for our audience. Like, what do you think? Like, oh, we make He-Man statues, we make Ninja Turtle statues, or not Ninja, we make Thundercat statues, we make DC statues, we made Elvira. Choose one of those things and make something. And just be like, hey, I made this as if it was part of that line. And then if we like it, we hire you. We might even be like, that piece actually really works for this line. This is like, can we buy that from you? We've approached a couple of people about that. That's like a little bit of a riskier thing, but gear your portfolio towards the place you want to work. You know, if you want to work at McFarlane Toys, they crank out toys super quick. So you better show like, I can do stuff the way you're doing it. Here's superpowers DC. Here's Batman. Here's a female figure. Oh, I can do them in static pose. I can make it clean for articulation. And then I can do them fast because they'll want you to do it fast. Or you can do it slow and you just don't get paid that much because they're paying you based on how fast they think you should do it. So that's the biggest thing. I say just like look at people that work at certain companies and then just look at that company and go, oh, that company does this. Like, oh, I want to work for like, you know, Sideshow. Oh, Sideshow has like Marvel license. I want to work on a Wolverine statue. We'll look at all their Wolverine stuff and go, here's a Wolverine they haven't done. Here's something that fits their thing. You know, it's just like, it's, to me, it's weird. I don't want to say it's like common sense stupid, but like in my head, it's like always like when I was applying for jobs, I was fresh out of school and I literally have like I'm like, what do I do? And my portfolio was like really diverse because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to school to learn. I originally 2D animation, and then I did some sculpture work. Then I learned 3D, and I love drawing. I love stylized drawing. I did life drawing. My portfolio was all over the place, but the first place I applied to, which was Gentle Giant Studios, they needed a new concept artist that can draw like a bunch of different ways. And so I was out of school, so they knew, hey, this isn't going to be an expensive guy. We'd be like, hey, this is your first job. You ready to make like enough money to survive? I'm like, yes. And my portfolio was what they were I didn't know it. I wasn't like, oh, Gentle Giant wants this. I got lucky in that my portfolio was really crazy and they wanted, oh, you can draw stylized, realistic, this way, that way, that way. You can draw monsters and chicks and cars and whatever. So that helped me. But if I was a sculptor now trying to apply for a place, I would look at that thing and be like, does this fit that? You know?
Yeah, dude, that's
that's
awesome
good tip.
advice out there. So thank you very much, Dave. That's really good. So yeah,
Really good advice. The question that pops up in my head is you mentioned like you have to be able to crank out fast. For McFarlane, if you even like Chris, you had mentioned deadlines. Say someone was responsible for sculpting the next Wolverine. How long would that person actually have to like sculpt the first concept of that before they're like, oh, you're going way too slow?
It depends on the subject matter. Like Wolverine as a toy is one thing. Wolverine as a statue is another thing. Wolverine as a statue on a Sentinel base is another thing. A Wolverine statue on a Sentinel base fighting Sabretooth and Wendigo and Hulk. You know what I mean? It's like, it just totally depends on, oh, and he has 8 different heads and, you know, claw, bone claw, sword weapon. You know, it's like, whoa, what is all this? You know, it's like, there's so many things like to this figure. So just, it totally depends on that. Like I'm very fortunate working with my boss. He hates it when I call him that, but I love calling him my boss, Chad at Tweeterhead. We take forever sometimes to sculpt stuff because we don't have enough to keep anyone employed full time, but we fill a lot of people's like gaps. So like I'll work with an artist and they know like, all right, if I work on this for a week, I'll give it to Dave, and while I wait for feedback, I can work on this other thing. Because I get busy and I'm like, oh, here's your feedback, like a little late, or hey, here's your feedback right away, but no rush. We've gotten a project from design to finished prototype on the website in like 3 months before, which is like the fastest we've ever done it. And then there's been projects that take 2 years just because they'll be like stopgaps. And so the only project I felt took way longer than it should have was a project that should have been like a 3 to 4 month project. It took almost 9 months, and that was constant working on it because there's just communication issues and everything, and that happens, and it depends on it. Just like with us, we're really lenient on that because at the end of the day, like Chad and I view it as like, hey, we're making statues, we're not like doctors saving lives. And our licensing partners have been pretty cool about us kind of like moving things around because we're a smaller company. We're not like this huge like I can only imagine like Funko or something where like they have this huge overhead and probably how many higher ups that are like, we bottom line dollars, shipping. I'm like, like if you're late by a month or by a week or by a day or by an hour on something, it has this like ripple effect on everything that they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate I don't work at a place like that because I probably wouldn't do good. I'm like, I'm a guy that's always like, I noticed this. Can you change this? I always pay people for their time. We usually do a flat rate on a project. And then if it becomes like they're not getting it, it's kind of on them. If we're changing our minds, it's on us. And some ways like, hey, I know I made you change this thing like 3 times because I didn't know what I was doing. Tell me how much more work that was and I'll pay you that extra. And I do that on my Monsters stuff. I work with a couple artists. I'm like, hey, let's do this hourly. Not like give me a guesstimate, but then, hey, if I'm asking you like keep changing stuff, I'm not me personally. Yeah. That's a me thing. I know a lot of people try and take advantage of artists and they're like, keep changing it. It's like, dude, you're telling him to do this and you're telling him to do this and you're telling him to do this. And you're like, all right, we'll stay within this budget. It's like, that's on you. So I always try not to be that. And I know we're now talking about budget, but I'm the same way with like deadlines. It's like, if a deadline becomes, hey, this is the goal, it goes past it. If it's my fault, it's one thing. If it's like, I have projects that are cursed at Tweeterhead. I love working there, but it feels like every time I work on a project, as soon as I get a project going, then the artist gets sick. And then, all right, cool. Now you're not sick anymore. Oh, my kid has this thing, and that's a week. I'm like, all right. Is your kid done with what? Like, oh, I'm going on vacation. I'm like, I'm going on vacation. You're a freelancer. Freelancers don't go on vacations. I'm kidding. But then, all right, I get from that guy, give it to another guy, and they're like, cool, I can take this project, give it to the other guy. And the other guy's like, sorry, my wife's sick, and I can't, like, whatever. It's like, I get to the next guy, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I could have done that 2 weeks ago, but now I'm leaving on vacation to go to Japan for 2 weeks. I'm like, why? So I am cursed, and I've just accepted it. So people like a Twitter, we have this Sorceress project I announced like 3 years ago at PowerCon. It was like, there's concept art. Then the next year, it's like, here's kind of the refined concept art. Then it's like, here's the 3D render of a work in progress. It shows you where it's going with other characters. And then we're finally getting it up for sale like next week. It's like, man, sometimes projects just take way longer. So I know that's like a long answer to be like, I don't know. No,
that's good context though. Because if you're not in the industry, you don't have experience in that. What type of bar or what type of I'm gonna use the word metric, but what type of should you be striving for?
With toys, it's like a thing I don't have as much experience with. And the great thing about a lot of toys, most characters are kind of symmetrical. Like if you're making a Wolverine, you're not worried about like this subtle anatomy difference, shoulder to shoulder. It's like, dude, just one arm can look exactly like the other. No one cares. You know what I mean? Like, sure, in the face, give him a little bit asymmetrical expression. But like, fist. I did one fist, the other one's done. Unless, this one has a ring on it. Boom, asymmetry looks like, Yeah. It's like with digital sculpting, people just assume everything's faster because of symmetry, because like, I want the head bigger. It's not like in traditional, you have to do this weird mold and cast process, and which expands the sculpture. Like now it's just like going to zebras or done. It's like everything's, I know I'm really fast in ZBrush when I work on my own stuff. Like I started time my projects, not so much to like brag, but just so I can like be aware if in case I want to do freelance for another company, like if they're quoting me this, how much do I want to make hourly So that means I have to get done in this many hours to hit that. And anything over that, then I'm like just losing my hourly rate.
Mhm.
And so that's been a fun exercise because I've never done that before. But now I'm like, every time I open up ZBrush or work this thing, I'm like, cool, I start at 2 p.m. Write that down on a piece of paper. Then I work on. I look at the file. I'm like, cool, it's 3:30. That's an hour and a half. And I write that down.
Yeah.
And I can look at the file before, look at the file after, see what I did an hour and a half. Like, why did I work on that fingernail for so long? It's a fingernail, versus like, did I make a difference on this project?
Yeah.
And I know, like, I worked with an artist on a thing, and he spent like a week on something that should have been like 2 hours. And I'm like, how'd you spend a week on this thing? It's because it committed to something without showing me earlier. And that's a communication issue. But digital tools allow people to be so much faster. I know a lot of companies want faster. I'm not so much like I care about speed. I care more about efficiency. Like, did you work on that too long without checking in here? Or if you checked in here, I could be like, oh, hey, tweak this thing and now go this way. Instead, they kept going this direction for like days. I'm like, dude, you went down the wrong road. Like,
Right.
my house is over here. Well, I'm here now. Move your house here. Like, no, you have to come to my house,
Right.
So it's like a weird thing where it's like, if you checked with me on the map, I don't know, there's a weird analogy I just came up with, but it's like, I could be like, no, don't take that turn. You're supposed to go east, not west on the 56, past that barn. And if you see the cows, you've gone too far. I don't know. Fun analogy.
I hear Larry's farm is around the corner. Sorry, Dave. We have a thing.
Yeah.
That involves
Don't
farms.
worry.
I want to be involved in the thing. I'm a special guest.
With farms.
Oh.
It's farms. It might be too early.
It's a little too early, but he said he wanted to be involved in the thing, so we'll get
All
him
right,
involved. Definitely.
we'll talk more farms later.
But can we? So there's something that I do want to move to, because it will transition back to Dave. The chat is one of the best things. Our community is one of the best things. The TPC, the Toy Daddy community, these guys come every Wednesday and now Mondays to our chat. And you guys are the best things. Like, you ask some great questions, and you make us laugh all the time. So let's give you our time to shine and ask those questions to Dave. Like, we'll star them and we'll ask them, put them in. Cal the Collector, what's up, buddy? We already said hi to Josh Brown. Scott Baker, how you doing? Tricks Blast 95, how's it going?
Tricks.
Wade Crate, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, Wade?
Finn Cobb, how you doing? Endless Fables, what's up? Samurai Chris, the legend Clintastic 4, what's up, buddy?
So that was a Chris with a K. We were talking about that
Chris with a
earlier.
K.
Chris with
You're
a K or Chris with a CH?
Yep, I'm the CH though.
Yeah.
We got RG.
What's up,
How's
Bart?
it going, buddy? We got Make It Move Media. Have you seen that new teaser that he pulled today?
Oh, I didn't get to see it
No, I
today.
didn't.
Check it out. It is incredible. We got Toy Addict 17. What's up, Danny? How you doing, bud? Highly articulated. What's going on? We are losing it with Dave. Ender Shadow, how's it going? Before we get to the questions, let's see. Solo Sinner, how you doing?
What's up, Solo?
Yimbo?
Toy Math!
There you go. We got Toy Migos in the chat. How's it going?
What's up, Jamie?
What up?
Yeah, you've been making the rounds, Dave, because you were on the Migos. You guys were on Parallel. Who else?
Yeah, Migos is the first one. And I didn't know. I knew Chamba. I've known Chamba for like 20 years.
Oh, nice.
Totally unrelated to toys.
Yeah.
Just deep.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So my buddy Augie introduced me to, and him and Adam Van Wickler, like they both kind of like introduced me to that crew. So it was cool, like getting to know, Cheney and Lago, like just like night of, basically. I was like, hi, I'm Dave. I don't know who you are. Let's talk. They're super cool. Like I met them at the meetup, and they're like had all you can eat Korean barbecue with them, and they're super cool dudes. So
Oh,
awesome.
for sure. Yeah.
And we got Diggs Fix as backer number 108. I was wondering what backer Josh Brown is.
Josh Brown was number 1. He texted
Yeah.
me as soon as it happened. Yeah.
Was that a setup, Diggs? Did you know that?
He might have. Josh has talked about it a couple times. So yeah.
Hilarious.
But I was
Josh
supposed to go
Brown's amazing.
live at like 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, whenever it was, September 10th. And then so I worked the previous day, Monday. I mean, I worked the whole weekend before getting ready for his like 12 to 16-hour days, Saturday, Sunday. I'm like, cool. I feel like I'm in a good spot. I'm going to wake up early Monday, 7:30. I'm going to work. And I took a half an hour break to walk my dogs, half an hour break for lunch, half an hour break for dinner. And I worked until 4:30 that morning. And I hadn't worked like that long or hard, like straight through on something since like college. I was like, what is this? I remember this. I took a 2-hour nap, woke up at 6:30, and then I was like, oh, it's launch morning. Gotta go up at 9. Nope. Kickstarter is my first Kickstarter. It's like way more confusing than I thought. So we went live at 10:30. And as we hit live, I was like, live. I blinked. It was like $1,000. I was like, what? It was like 3 or 6 backers right away. I was like, whoa. And then Josh texted me like, dude, I got backer number 1. I was hitting for the last hour and a half. I was like, whoa. Because I announced going live at 9 and felt bad. I was an hour and a half late. But it was just like, and then I walked my dogs and I came back from walking my dogs. So I normally walk them at 8. So they're freaking out. Like, Dad, walk us. I walked them and I got back. Then I got all these messages about like how wrong the Kickstarter was. I didn't do the middle of the campaign page, like correct it all, I guess. I just only like, it's like you have to upload things as individual items, then as the pledges, and then I'm like, cool, that will populate the center thing. Nope, the center thing's like its own thing, so I had to go in there and like do all this stuff. And so I spent the next 2 hours doing that, and then other things popped up. It kept working until I went on Toy Anxiety that night. That was my first live of like when it went live. So I went on with them at like 7:30, and then I was on with them for a couple hours, and then got off that, was answering questions. I worked till 10:30. So basically worked from like 7:30 a.m. the day before till 10:30 at night the next day with like a 2-hour power nap in the middle. And I was like a husk. Dead. Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was the time to do it. If you're gonna kind of, lose that sleep, that's definitely the time. And Toy Anxiety, that must have been a lot of fun because we got to meet them at Comic-Con, and they were just again sweet group of people.
I've never met any of you guys in real life up until like I knew Chamba before, and then I got to meet the Toy Migos guys at the meetup and a bunch of people there, which is cool. But like, yeah, I haven't met any of the Toy Anxiety people. Even that, like with you guys, we hopped on 10 minutes before we went live. We got a minute to like get to know each other, which is cool. With Toy Anxiety, I wasn't like scheduled to go until like half an hour into the show, so I didn't even have that. Like I didn't know them at all, so I just we're live. Who are you guys? Like I didn't know anyone. I was like, oh, what do I do? It's like, what's your name? Hi. Like I watched kind of a clip of them before that, but I was like, I mean, it's just been crazy with like the Kickstarter and game. It's not like I don't care to get to know these channels. Like I'm so new to this world, and like my friends have really helped connect me. Like I forgot if it was Josh. I always forget like who, or No.Chewing. You were watching a thing. Did Josh? I forgot if Josh introduced us more formally, or if you just reached out, or what it was.
It was Josh. He had asked. He said, "Hey, have you looked at Monstars?" And we love Josh, so we're like, "Oh yeah, let's take a look."
We're like, these look fantastic. All right.
So, like a few friends have really helped connect me with like this world I'm a complete ignorant idiot about. I'm like, what's this channel? What's
what's
a
a Yimbo?
Yeah, I don't know anyone. So it's been real fun to get to know like everyone, and I feel like everyone's been cool so far. No one's been like, I don't know. You just sometimes I go into things assuming the worst, like. Who's going to be the douchebag I have to eventually talk to? Like, so far,
I'm sure they exist, but not in our circles. We've vetted everybody pretty. we really encourage everyone with all the names we throw out. These are amazing individuals that, again, we've either hung out with a ton virtually, or now we've had the pleasure of getting to hang out with so many people at various cons. It's so cool.
Dude, cons are the best. When you get meet up with people you've never met them before.
Yeah.
Like it's super cool. So I love
Yeah.
that.
We're
Yeah.
talking. I don't know. Are you? I mean, you just in California. No chance. Have you heard of Legion's Con coming
Oh
up in
yeah,
November? That's
I
like our
want to
big
go.
talking point.
Yeah, I want to go. It's like literally the weekend before Designer Con. I have a booth at
that's
Designer,
right.
which is I have to drive out to Vegas, and
Yeah.
so it's like I want to go. A friend of mine offered me to like crash in their floor, which is cool. So I only have to worry about getting a plane ticket out there. So I might go. It might be like a hair up my butt 2 days before, like screw it, buy a ticket, I'm going. No, but if you knew ahead, you could get it cheaper. I don't think that way. I just in the moment, I am an artist. I procrastinate to the last second. I'm like, I'm gonna go. Well, if you plan this 2 months ago, you could save $300. Like, I guess I'm out $300. I don't know what to tell you, man. I've wrecked my car a few times. If I didn't get in an accident, I could save money. You know.
So, Dave, let me ask Chris and Chewy a question real quick. Do you guys feel that the kindred connection that I have with Dave over here? Because when we were planning our Comic-Con to going out to San Diego, Chewy was like, you were on top of tickets and yeah,
plane tickets, timing, when to log in. Someone's last name came up as a problem this most recent weekend. So yeah, I'm all
Can't guess who
he's
that
on top
is.
of stuff. I'm the guy that booked his flight backwards to Comic-Con.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I waited too long.
Hey,
I was being a
like,
knucklehead.
Did you find out in the airport? You're like, hey, how come I'm not?
But Dave,
where's my
we figure
flight?
things out. We figure it out.
So I'm the opposite when it comes to conventions or something. I'm like, I have to do this. So like I've been doing Comic-Con for like 20 years. I think 18, 19 years as a like exhibitor. So I've been extremely spoiled where I get like my exhibitor badges. I get exhibitor housing, meaning like we get hotel access before anyone else does. So when people are like, Dave, how do I register? I'm like, I don't know. I'm an exhibitor. And that's like, you know, like when Jim Carrey and like Ace Ventura's like, or not, Dumb and Dumber's like, it's okay. I'm a limo driver.
Right.
That's how I feel like as an exhibitor. It's like, I don't know. I'm an exhibitor. Like, I don't know anything. Just, and I can drive there. I don't have to worry about a plane ticket. So,
Yeah.
But if I'm going, like, it feels like Legion's kind of, I know the guys. I feel like I could just go. I don't know if maybe it sells out. I should probably look into that though. But I have a place to stay at least. I have a place to stay. I can get a plane, but I should look into tickets. So I should do that. Yeah.
See, but I feel like you could wing it. It'd be all right. you
Hilarious. Dave, Wade Crate asks, quick question for the Toy Days and Dave. Do you prefer articulation over sculpt or the other way around? I mean, we've talked about this before as Toy Daddies, but Dave, why don't you start?
I feel like my Kickstarter probably answers that in that they are classic articulation. They have arm swivels and head swivels and waist swivels. And then they'll have like wherever I can make it swivel more, but I don't have like leg articulation. I've gotten in arguments with people about this. I'm like, there's one guy I got a 45-minute discussion about it with at PowerCon. He's like, you got to articulate these things. He's like, I'm like, he's talking about like elbow joints, all that stuff. I'm like, dude, I collect He-Man, Ninja Turtles, Playmates, classic stuff. I'm like, sure, sometimes I have like a bicep swivel, but that always looks weird to me. I'm like, as long as my arm rotations are good, I don't feel like this helps it. A lot of times I feel like this hurts it. Like trying to pose your character, it's like their arm swivels like this. It's like, yeah, they hit themselves in the head or something dumb. Like I get it. So I plan mine to be very clean swivels. He's like, all right. So he's like, you gotta do elbows and knees. I'm like, I'm not doing it. Like my rat lore doesn't have it. My stink lore doesn't have it. My slash doesn't have he's like, all right, you gotta do at least 2 legs. I'm like, all right, dude, let me ask you, why do, and I have this as my living example, why do He-Man figures like classic have leg articulation? So they can literally sit on a robotic horse or in a vehicle or something. Like it's not like, oh, let me pose my triclops in a kicking position and set them down. They'll stand that way. No. First thing I look for with classic vintage toys is, are they clean and complete? And then how tight are their legs? How well do they stand? I have some He-Man toys where their bands are all screwed up and their legs like kicked inward and they can never stand ever again. And it sucks, like unless you have a stand. And so with my Ninja Turtles toys, like one of the reasons why I created Sting Cobra is because I love Scale Tail, but he has that weird tail leg. So he's like this he's like all the time. I'm like, I just want him upright.
Yeah.
And so I'm a guy that like poses my toys, and with Ninja Turtles in particular, like you pose the legs just to where they balance. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sculpt these legs in, make them look cool, push the expression, the hands, the face. So I would say I'm definitely a sculpt over articulation guy. But in some cases, I want a super articulated figure for like, like watching the David Finch thing, like for reference or for this, or that's the one I want to be my super posable. But the majority of the stuff I have, like I got in an argument with someone on this on a YouTube channel, but this is my favorite Max Toys, the McFarlane Toys one. And he is the same basic, like even his legs, like why does he have leg articulation? Like he only stands one way, but I love this guy. Yeah. And the sculpt is infinitely better than whatever the one that everyone calls a Grail that's like super articulated. I'm like, but you look at that toy and he's like super bulbousy, weird. And yeah, let's do all these cool poses, but every time he's in a pose, I'm like, but he doesn't look like Max. Like he's missing that weird hunch, like the clean line. I feel like I get that from limited articulation, better sculpts. So that's my TED talk. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I definitely like, I when I first got into, when I was in college, I collected a lot of McFarlane too. And McFarlane was mainly about the sculpts, not necessarily about the articulation. Some people argue the same for now. But I am definitely a sculpt over articulation guy. But again, when articulation benefits the figure, like, hey, I'll invite it and it's going to be awesome. But number one, I want it to look like really nice.
Yeah. And the thing with McFarlane toys too is like, they shouldn't have even added any there's like mini statues in these dynamic poses. Like, but don't worry, we worked in an arm swivel and you rotate the arm, it looks busted. If you move it off that bicep thing, which is clearly sculpted a certain way, it's like, why do we even, who would ever poses anyway other than the one way it's intended?
It's just,
that should have owned it versus like some of the stuff, like even I love Spawn. I was like so excited when I heard about like the 30th anniversary Kickstarter figure that I saw. It's like, I didn't like it at all because he has this weird hip, like tilt stand thing. Then he has like super articulation. Like either make him a super articulated figure in a neutral pose or lean into a pre-pose. It was like this weird, he's kind of pose and then he's got a lot of articulation, but it's like, but his hips are always in that weird thing. I'm like, I don't know, just I feel like you had to own one or the other, And so with like the Monsters figures, I lean into what I was going for, which is like that classic Playmates vintage toy thing. And I just try to update the sculpt and update the paint and everything. Yeah. And I'm not going for a super articulated thing. And then if I ever were to do a super articulated Shamumu, I would want to find the person that loves articulation that would make the best super articulated Shamumu they could, or best super articulated Sting Cobra. Like that would be a fun thing, but I want to do this the best way I can first and then keep doing that. And hopefully, I mean, if it's successful and people like it, I think so far people seem to like it and it's done really good. And we're really close. I think we're like $17,000 shy of funding of our $120,000 goal. And
it's almost there. Yeah. 14 days.
Yeah.
Ago.
Wow.
So far, 382 people don't hate the idea.
So, yeah, these are really great. And guys, we have to highlight Josh's question because it's so topical in what we were just discussing. But that one that you starred, if monsters ever get mounts, that's a great question.
Oh, I would probably do something like, because they swap at the waist, I'd probably do new like legs or something, but so far, if they had creature buddies, I'd probably just make them like Mom Mutt to Mumra or like something to stand with. Like maybe one day there'll be a cool weird monster horse thing, and then I would probably make it character specific, make it for their legs, and any other monster could ride using their legs because the whole point of monsters is their body parts can swap. So probably do like a set of legs or two that could work with that, then any torso can work with it. But that's a problem for future Dave, not current Dave. So you know.
But that's a fun idea to put in the mental Rolodex. Pull that out when you're ready for it. I mean, again, the fact that we're seeing it now with the Kickstarter here, like you said, totally swappable, and it's like your toy. It screams fun. Like that's what these are.
Thanks.
These are absolutely a blast. Like I already know that I'm gonna end up get back in a couple at the very least because my son's gonna lose it. Like I know he's
Thanks.
super into this. He's gonna be he's gonna love it, and he's 5. You know, again, trying to get the kids, the next generation, involved in our toys. Chewy, I know your kids really enjoyed the Mutant Mayhem swappable figures that just came
Oh
out
yeah,
recently.
yep. I'm sure my son will love Shamumu, and the thing I noticed immediately on recognize as something that he'll absolutely love is the tiny little figure it comes with.
Yeah,
The starfish
little buddy.
character.
yeah.
Yeah, and Sting Cobra comes with a little camel spider guy. But yeah, just that's why I did the photo of them. You know, like this is something I've learned a lot too about Kickstarter campaigns, is all about like, you know, what's the instant message and how do you get people hooked, and then how as they go down it makes sense, gets them more excited. I wrote way too much. I had to trim it down because no one wants to read a novel, you know, and then I've been doing updates and trying to update things. So one of the things whoever's scrolling, I'm not sure who,
I gotcha.
like there's I was fun, like here's concept art for future characters, which we kind of showed it in the Talking Head video, but I wanted people to see like, hey, in case you didn't get to the 5-minute mark in the Talking Head video, there's a lot of future characters planned. And then I put together like a little visual menu that shows like clearly all the different variants, because they're there. You just have to scroll like, oh, here's one, here's the other, here's the other. I want to just be like, boom, here's a quick look at like the 2 main characters, the 2 variant characters, and the 3 paint variants of the main characters, and try to make it make sense. That's also a tool I've been using for figuring out certain stretch goals and stuff. But yeah, and then there's Kickstarter exclusives, which are fun. So, you know, we'll see if people like clear. I think some people like, they love glow in the dark. They love translucent, weird color stuff. So I'm trying to like, you know, offer that, make it make sense. I try to show like with this update on the sculpt, the painted prototypes is really like the first time I've shown this. I haven't done a talk or a live stream since this update. So you guys are the first one talking with about this, but like, you know, there's only so much time you have to plan for these things. Sometimes you can go in really prepared. I went in mostly prepared. I made a toy commercial, which is great, but the toy commercial, all that marketing assets were all previous versions of the characters. I've been updating them behind the scenes a little bit. Like the Sting Cobra that was painted and showed up in the toy commercial, his feet were a little bit too small, so he has like stability issues, and I want to push some details here or there. And also now Sting Cobra comes with the hand and the weapon, because I thought that was too cool not to include with him and only the variant. So I try to do these sculpt updates to show like, hey, here's what you saw. Here's what the sculpt looked like of this thing unpainted that was painted. And then here's the sculpt updated so people can clearly, like if you scroll down, it kind of shows like all the call outs on Shamumu. You know, I try to be, I'm a believer in as much transparency as possible. Like that's what I would want from a company. Obviously there's things you just can't share. Like these are our exact margins and this is the exact fact. And here's my home address. Here's my social security number. Like, there's a line where like, I'm not telling you certain things, but I want to tell you as much as I can. So it's kind of like, hey, here's what's been updated on Sting Cobra. Here's what's been updated on Shamumu. And here are the future characters. So I really want people to get like, oh, there's like, this has been updated. This is evolving. This is expanding. It's growing. It's not like, here's my one thing and hopefully you like it. It's like, you know, there's a lot to this, you know?
Oh, that's so neat. Well, you're obviously doing a great job, man. I mean, you're closing in on the goal with 2 weeks to go. That's great.
Yeah, I think we just passed like the 15-day mark yesterday, because it was Tuesday that we launched. I think it was like midday yesterday. It was like the halfway point of the campaign, and to be $17,000 shy of funding feels really good. I mean, I wish I was funded now. That'd be awesome. Then we'd be like, you know, but at the same time, like I love the idea of like having a little more time to figure out like, what are stretch goals and what am I gonna do? And I've had ideas, and things are always changing. I feel like sometimes you go in with a battle plan and then new information comes up. You see what other people did. You talk to other people that have Kickstarters and like, oh, this works good. This doesn't work good. But yeah, these actual pledge boxes, I kind of hate. I thought this was gonna be the main thing, because they make you upload this image, and then it's like that's the thumbnail of it, and it crops it and cuts it, and you can't update it.
Yep.
So the actual middle campaign thing of the Kickstarter page, actually, that's where you can update the imagery, update like,
Okay.
here's an updated render of this thing. So yeah, and then also Kickstarter, when you do this thing, it puts it in numerical value no matter what. Like I'm a flow Nazi. Like it has to be like in a certain order. And so like with my all-in packages, I had like all-in standard 2, all-in bronze 2, but the prices kind of varied. And so like here you'll get like, this thing comes after this thing. I want it before this other thing. I'm like, it just drives me crazy. So the middle campaign page of the Kickstarter page, you can actually show it in order, show full images, show additional images, update those things as you update them. But these, once you update, you're like stuck with it. It's like, nope.
Got it.
And I get it because they don't want it like people pledging, then you change what it is. So I get that.
Oh yeah.
Super annoying. It's like so annoying. You can't update it or make it a certain order. It's like, nope, this is the order it's in. It's like, all right.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just wanted to show off the different options there. And it's so funny that like July is still so far away. It's only September, but it also feels like July 25. All right. Like feels pretty good. That's something to look forward to this summer.
That's an optimistic one too. I mean, like it seems like I try to add buffer time, but depending on what the factory does or whatever, you never know. But like that felt like a good target.
Yeah.
And things can always change, and I'm going to be as transparent as I can be. Like as I find out information, everyone else is going to know. I'm not going to be like, hold it a secret. If I know like by the end of this campaign going into October, early November, it's like, oh, we have to move this stuff from factory A to factory B because of whatever. I'm going to, hey, this stuff's moving from a different factory. So we might be able to hit July. We might have to move it to August or September. I don't know, but I just want everyone to know. So I'm going to always try and be as transparent as I can with stuff.
Well, that's been the cool thing about having you on and talking to other, toy makers in the past now over the fact that we've learned more of that side. Not that we know anything, but we just know a little bit more into the behind the scenes and what kind of goes into the factories and their production timelines and things along that nature. So
yeah, I feel like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that we've learned more about the factory and the sculpting and whatnot, but I feel like I've learned more about how to use Kickstarter with you in terms of and I find that interesting. I find that whole process interesting because that's the biggest process, trying to kick off your Kickstarter. And if you can have the product, but you also need to know how to use the format too.
I remember talking with Wade with Odious and just like the fact that it's a whole nother platform to learn to navigate with its own algorithms and the things you have to do for your reach, and just like all these social apps. It's just another thing to wrap your brain around. But I mean,
not even that, but like, I mean, that's obviously a part of it too. And then you don't realize like, oh, as soon as you do this Kickstarter goes live, then you get like 5 messages a day at least from these people like, oh, tell me more about your campaign. Are you looking to optimize your blah, 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 blah? And it's like this spammy shit of people trying to like sell you their services on selling to their super backers. And it's like, for $100, we'll show your stuff to our 500 super backers. Like, I don't even know if you're real. This could be a scam. But I feel like you immediately get new robocalls. It's already an election year. My phone's already blown up with like, hey, are you ready to donate to the campaign or whatever for like whoever or anyone? And it's like, I don't, and then now I'm getting spam emails about Kickstarter and how someone can, and I get messages on Facebook about it. I get messages on Kickstarter, I get emails about it. They're like, oh, your cell phone number is listed. Oh, I'm going to text you about it. All right, cool. Block,
Yeah.
So that's been fun.
These look so great, man.
Wade Crate says, trying to figure out how to make sweet chops, bro, as a question.
You can just put a question mark at the end. Those are
Samurai Chris, what specific you feel is the most cursed?
Like my projects I've worked on before?
No, I think he means
character. Sorry, character.
like when I was talking about like my Tweeterhead projects being cursed, like which
Think
character
so.
was most cursed that I
Yeah.
worked on?
I think that's around
Yeah.
that time.
Either the He-Man life-size bus or this sorceress has been pretty cursed. She's going up for sale soon. He-Man life-size bus was really, that one was one where I remember specifically, it's like, cool, I'm aiming originally supposed to go up for sale like what year? I forget what year it is. It's like early, like whatever year. It went up for sale earlier this year, I think, and it was supposed to go up for sale. No, it was earlier the year before. Oh my god, I'm getting my year. What year is it, guys? It's 2024. 2023 is supposed to go up for sale originally end of February. So these things, then everything kept happening to it, and it went up in June. And it was the one I was like not lax on, but I was like aggressively on top of every step of the way. And then every single step of the way, multiple stages of 1 week to 2 weeks to, oh, we're out of the office. Oh, we can't get back to you for 2 to 3 weeks because of the holidays. I'm like, what? And yeah, I love how it came out, but that's a life-size bus. It's our own take on like what we would do if we could make a live action. Not like the toy made life-size, but like how we would approach him this way. And there's a whole story to the portrait too. I shouldn't get into, but
Oh, no,
there are
no,
things I would do differently.
I had to check it out. I just wanted to make sure this is the one you were
Looks
talking
awesome.
about.
Yeah, that is the
wow.
It's
Wow.
incredible.
Thanks. I'm really proud of it. A lot of people like, just part of the deal when you work in statues or collectibles or for a company, like if you work in NECA or Super 7 or whoever, you're going to get tons of like opinions and I would have, you should have. And people don't understand. That's like Monday morning quarterbacking. I don't watch sports, but everyone's like knows way more than the coach, obviously. And they should have done this, obviously. It's like, dude, no one understands what it's like when you're on the floor in the middle of this thing, everyone shouting in your ear. You have players you're responsible for. You have the owner. You have this thing. You have this. The weather.
Yeah.
You're in the back of your head. You're like, oh, my wife's gonna leave me. Just kidding. My wife's with. But like, you know what I mean? It's just like you just don't know what anyone's going through.
Yeah.
And so with statues, people are like same thing. I got like a lot of feedback on like what I should have done with the portrait. It's like, all right, cool. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, you have no idea what I had to deal with the licensor on this portrait because it's their main guy. It's He-Man, and there's our interpretations. Of course, they had feedback on it. My boss had feedback on it. Like, I had it's not like, oh, I just do whatever I want to do. There's a lot of that. I'm very fortunate with Twitter, but like even working at Sideshow, when I was their art director, I would take people like, oh, you can just do whatever you want. It's like I can propose something, and then I would have to take it to a meeting, and then there's 8 other directors from marketing, business, whatever, production, the bosses, make all them happy. Then I have to, once they're all happy, then I have to submit it to the licensor. Is the licensor happy? Cool. Then I present that to the team. Is the team happy? Because artists are, you want them to be invested in a thing. And then, oh, we're doing it like that? That's lame. It's like, dude, I just went through 8 layers of hell to get this here. It's like, shut up. Just
well, Dave, if I did it, it would not look as good as that. So
thanks.
No, well, Dave, the other thing that this is always a nice reminder, and this is one of the things that we've always prided ourselves here is that it's reminding our friends in the community that there are wonderfully passionate people like yourself that are behind all of these things that we love, and that it's always careful to be a little bit more, again, educators, so a little bit more constructive, in a way of handling something, because these projects are near and dear to people,
And not everyone agrees. Weird. Right. We're fans. Once you're a creative and you can be in a position of like having an opinion, of course your opinion's wrong. Why didn't you poll the audience? Cool. I should run a business by polling the audience on every decision ever. Who in the world would do? Oh, you're a family man? You just had kids? Why make every decision ever about your kids with a poll? Whoa. You know what I mean? It's like, who does that? Like, you can't do anything that way. Like, I ran into so many people at conventions, like they were collectors aside, and they would know me. Dave, I know you can solve all your problems. You should hold polls. I'm like, dude, I'm not holding polls for anything. 1, it's insane. 2, usually you'll have like, let's say it's not about I don't care about other people's opinion. It's like you'd have 1,000 people vote on something in a poll, and 800 of them aren't even going to buy the thing. So the 200 people that would buy it get outvoted by the people who aren't going to buy it, but because they showed up in droves, I have an opinion. I'm never going to buy it anyways. And then that steers the ship. It's like, well, cool. Thanks for steering the ship into an iceberg. You're like, I think running an iceberg is the best thing. Like, imagine if internet trolls ran the Titanic. They would also run it into an iceberg, you know?
Yeah,
That's true of polls. I mean, for the I don't know the stats, but I'm assuming that those that get an email asking to like enter their information to a poll, probably 1 in 8 will actually fill out that survey.
Yeah.
So then, you're already getting a small segment of a small segment.
Harley articulated us, Dave, you don't have to name names, but you've done a show where they had no idea what Monsters was.
Maybe. I mean, like, I've been on shows where I don't know what the show is, you know? So I would never judge going on a show like before, and they're like, dude, what are Monsters? Like, let me tell you about what I'm doing. Thank you for your service. Maybe. Like, I honestly don't know. I was very fortunate with, like, a fun example, like Toy Anxiety. A friend sent me a clip of, like, dude, these guys are reviewing your stuff before I even know who they were because they saw it in Toy Collector magazine. They're like, hey, look, we saw this in Toy Collect, and look, there's a Kickstarter coming up next week. And they're like, whoa, what is this? And that was really cool because it was like 4 strangers who had no idea who I was, no idea what Monsters was, and they saw it in Toy Collector magazine. So that was like a fun, genuine, really awesome. Like, oh, they actually like it, and they knew what it was. And some people, I'm sure, I'm like, will you have me on your YouTube? And they're like, who's this guy? You know, and then they see it, like, what is this? And maybe that's I don't think anyone doesn't know what it is when we go live. You know, I think everyone knows before we go live. I don't think anyone's willing to risk, like, I don't know who this guy is. Have him on live. Oh, your stuff sucks. You know?
I was doing my research. I wish I usually try to do a little bit. We're toy daddies, so we, you know, we sometimes we get a little crazy.
Who came up with that name, Toy Daddies? Because I love it. Like, it's questionable, but I love it. It's like toy.
It is questionable.
Dads.
So do I get to take credit, Chris? Can I take credit for pitching based off of your name? So Chris, again, Toy.Father, was doing Toy Talk at the time, and then we had talked about doing a thing, and I was like, well, I'm a dad. You're the Toy.Father. We could be the Toy Daddies.
Yeah, it was just a live that we did, and then I was like, yeah, all right, Toy Daddies, let's do it.
And then I was like, it's because I know but Chris was definitely like, so Toy Daddies, huh? You want to go with that? And I'm like, it's not Toy Daddies.
When that was always my Toy Daddies, I thought it was gonna be a bunch of guys in like leather harnesses, ball gags. I'm like, I'm open-minded. I'll jump into anything, you know. But like,
part of the shtick,
I don't know. Tune in next Monday. Who knows?
I think I first heard about you guys too because No.Chewing was commenting on another thing. I'm like, I love that. I forgot if it was Toy Migos chat or something else, but I'm like, I love that name, No.Chewing. And then I think when I was talking to Josh and he's like, you should go on Toy Daddies. I'm like, what's Toy Daddies? And he introduced us. No, but when he said you should go on Toy Daddies, I'm like, oh,
yeah, it's great. I mean, it is great that we're now known as like the Toy Daddies, which I love. So
yeah.
And for the most part, we've only, you know, we're approaching 100 episodes of these. We only got one comment, and you know, honestly, they're not wrong. They're like,
right.
we're
in on the joke.
Creepy.
We know how it sounds, but also we're very much the Mr. Rogers and Bob Rosses of the toy space.
Yeah. That's great. What was the one comment? Do you mind me asking, or is
no, it was just simply that. It's like, oh, Toy Daddies is creepy. You should,
you guys should think about your name.
The moment of reflection. I was like, you know, they're not wrong. Whatever.
But that's anything. It's everything in life. You
guys don't come across like it's one like it's playful. It's a play on it, but that's like if you were to watch an episode and there's like a hint of creep, people would be like, yeah, but there's zero creep here, which I love.
Yeah,
I would love also if there's a little bit of creep because I'm like, this is interesting. I accept you guys with no creep.
Well, we haven't we've been focusing on your toys. You know, normally if a Woody pops up or if we talking about Dick Grayson, you know, like that.
Oh,
jokes
God.
go in that direction.
Yimbo.
I get it.
Oh,
trust me. There's a whole. If you watch Superbad, that one scene of flashback and everything you drew in it, that's my childhood.
I know
There's
exactly.
a whole thing of that.
My whole lunchbox.
Dude, when I saw a movie like, They stole my childhood. That's what I do and still do.
That is permanently burned in my mind. Him just trying to eat his drawings. Like, oh no, they found it.
Yeah, dude. I think I joked about it on Dave Wonder's show because I was on a live with him, and then the guys from Brutal Realm, and they were talking about this one toy that came with dick rockets or something, and it was one of the Marvel Legends figures, and the little accessories looked like little dick rockets. I had no
That's
idea
probably
what
the
they were
hood.
talking about. You guys, I don't even remember what it was. I forget what it was, but apparently it comes to this thing. I'm like, now I have to have this toy just because of that, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know exactly.
Anyways,
I own it. I own that toy. I know what you mean.
which one is it? Which one is it?
I think it's the hood, the one with the yelling face. Is it because it's his bullet effects look like?
I think that's
Schwanz's?
it. Yeah, it's a bullet effect
Oh.
thing. So yeah, it might be that. Yeah, I can't remember. I just remember like, this is amazing. Tell me more.
That one figure gives so much for people.
Yeah. I mean, I was casually walking through, I forget if it was Walmart, but I was at General Giant. So this is like 15, 16, 17 years ago. And this is when they were, I forgot what era of Star Wars toys are, because they're always redoing it. But it was back when, I'm going to horribly butcher it, but they have like a photograph in the back of the card art. And then, anyways. So they had C3PO with Salacious Crumb, but Salacious Crumb was against his head, and C3PO's eye was out. And I'm like, they approve skull fucking Salacious Crumb. I have to buy this. Bought it, and I love it. And I'm like, somewhere this got through. Like, what?
That was the German variant, highly sought after.
Him against C3PO's head and his eyes popping out. I'm like, he is molesting his head so hard that his eyeball popped out. Like, that is awesome. Just love it. So anything like that.
God.
All right, what do you got, Chris? I know you got something. What do you got?
Okay. Well, Dave, we're talking about your toy line. We're talking about the monsters. We really love your lineup.
I thought you were gonna
Like,
go
in terms-
wieners for a second.
Talking about-
He pulls out a lunchbox.
and
And no, not and. Well, yeah, and I see your inspiration as a toy creator from your childhood, mainly Motu inspired. When I was little, cue it, please. No.Chewing. When I was little, No.Chewing. Come on. Okay. When I was little, thank you. I created a universe of my own called the Laserverse. Actually, no. The Laserverse came on when we did this, but I created a character called Laserman.
love it.
And now this character is very special to my heart. I made comic books. So here's his origin. His name is Larry Laserman. He's the son of a dairy CEO. He lives on a farm. And then one day he's milking his best friend cow, and he gets kicked in the chest, and he needs a heart replacement ASAP, like that day. So, but they can't get to a hospital because they live on a farm. That works, yeah. And so
They call the
they had
vet.
to,
They call the
they
cow
called-
the
they
big
called
animal
the-
vet.
yeah, they called the animal vet / doctor of the farm or the town, wherever they live, Greenville. And they did surgery right there. And the doctor's like, he needs a heart transplant right now, but we don't have a heart. So in steps his best friend cow, who kicked him in the chest. And without saying a word, the doctor and his dad knew what they needed to do. So they prepped him for emergency surgery, replacing his best friend cow heart. But that night, lo and behold, there was a meteor shower.
There's
In this
so many good layers to this already. I'm like, I'm so in. I'm so
okay,
in.
great.
Yeah, no, I love it. I just have
So-
to say it like, and
And
in a good way. Like, tell me more.
so imagine like Frankenstein type setup. But the meteor shower came in, hit Larry in the chest, and immediately gave him this power, this unbelievable power that he needed to harness. Now, there's a whole nother backstory of how he gets his armor. I won't get into that, but he becomes Laser Man. And not only that, that night on that farm, there are many different people that were affected by the meteorite and given special powers too, and hence the world of the Laserverse. So let me show you. 30 years later, I made my own Laser Man, and
Is this a world premiere? Have you shown this before? Or is this like new?
This might be a thing.
All right, cool. That's fine.
so
Let's see it.
I know you've been anticipating what Laser Man looks like. Now, I used a book that might be kind of
Sorry.
just we won't name the
forgive
character,
you. I
but
forgive
I'm
you.
sure you'll get it. Maybe you probably won't get the character, but here is Laser Man.
Is that from DC? Is that
Yes. No. That we're not. This is Laser Man.
all
Right.
right?
Pretty awesome. First of all, guys,
You show this.
one of the that was probably one of the best. Probably like not even a laugh, just like all right.
It's good.
But he has also like an entire rogues gallery. So not only do we have Laser Man, we have I don't have the guitar here, but we have Egg Sharon, no
Love that
relation.
name. Yeah. He had a horrible cameo in Game of Thrones, right? Yeah.
We have Reflect Sean.
I like that name. These are good. Good puns.
We got so he was like the big bad, he was one of the big baddies. We named him like Shitstorm, but we changed it to Fecal Matter.
Like that. There's from the OMFG line, there's I think he's called Shithouse. And it's like a little
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. So I love
Hey,
Yeah.
redesign, guys.
there you go.
Yeah, let's get sued by two companies.
Call him
This is-
Shitstorm. Yeah.
This is Sputterman. Interesting origin. He skipped work that day, the night of the meteorite, but he didn't want to admit that. So he pretends that he has powers, but he just throws potatoes at people.
Love it.
And this is the big baddie. This is his best friend. We call him the Mooterin, the divine bovine.
Love it. Mooterin?
Mooterin.
The divine bovine.
Divine Bovine's good. I'm gonna have to steal that.
So, Dave, now that you've been, oh gosh,
I have one critique.
wait, no,
of your
hold on,
story.
hold on.
All right,
Hold
cool.
on. We also have, gosh, guys, we have so many characters in the Laserverse. I forgot. Yimbo.
Why
The
do you
hand
lose
is,
the hand
the
again?
hand fell off. The hand fell off.
No, but like that should stay as part of the character. Can I tell you why?
Why?
Because he was jerking off if his name's Gamboner, and then his dick shot off like a dick rocket, and the hand was still attached to it, and it took the hand with it. So he has no hand. And he's looking for his dick and his hand, and that's his mission.
I'll
'Cause
allow
that's
this.
what the
Chris.
meteorite did. Just made him his dick explode, his hand went, or it just blew up. Like the pagers that blew up in like Hezbollah last week, whatever that was. How they're like making the pagers blow up. Like his dick blew up while he was jerking off, his hand blew up, so he actually has no hand or dick anymore. So that could be the other. Either it flew, which I like that one because it's hilarious, or it blew up and took the hand.
I like that toy feature that the hand pops out, like it just like flies off, like a
Yeah.
rocket.
So no hand on him, sir.
We'll
Workshop.
we'll workshop that one.
This
How you feel
is,
about
And I
that,
have
Yimbo?
one more
normally
character.
Charge $500 an hour for this kind of creative consulting. So this is free. You know, free.
We appreciate
I know.
it.
I love it.
So
And then
can
one-
oh, go ahead. sorry.
One character I left intentionally as last. Do you have the music?
Dun 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 dun
Hold on.
dun 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 dun.
Hey man.
Hey man.
Hey
Hey.
Get it? Like
Yeah.
Hey man.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey man. He's hey.
Like what a gay horse is
realize-
eat. Hey, right?
I just realized you changed the face on him.
What do you mean? No, I didn't.
Oh, that's the original face?
This yeah, no. Yeah, this is the original face of when I did this, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's the classic face on the
It just
Re-
makes him look like a
Revelation.
serial killer because it doesn't match his body.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's wearing a mask.
Hey man, yeah.
All right, so Dave, you had some feedback, which we do appreciate.
If you would like it. Because obviously I
Yeah, no.
contribute a lot to the one-handed man that, you know,
Hey,
Illness.
this isn't Toy.Father, so yeah, I'm totally down for that origin.
I love the idea of like the dick just taking off like a rocket and his hands on. He's like, hey! He's like, and then he's
Will it-
looking for it instead of it.
Can it come back
exploding,
around like a boomerang?
No, just go. And like now he's like going somewhere and looking for it. And all right, so here's my pitch.
Okay.
So the meteorites come, and depending on who they hit and how they hit them, it changes their powers, right? So
Mhm.
instead of the cow giving him his heart or beginning to give him his heart, the cow just kicks him in the chest. He's lying on the ground like this big dent in his head. He's like, oh, and the meteorite goes, shoo, boom, and just embeds in him. And then
Okay.
that's what gives him, it's embedded. And that's your
Ooh.
center of laser. So it's like, that's what's
Yep.
giving his power. Then other
Yep.
characters, you get like bonked on the head. It gives them some power, but like doink and falls away. It's almost like, shoo, boom, and just like embeds in their head. Like, oh, like one guy could like, oh, just like catch it in his mouth, has different power. One guy could be like drunk, passed out, fall asleep, his butt's up in the air, and it like goes
Yeah.
into his butt, gets different powers. Like, you know,
This
the guy
is-
could be jerking off and it like hits him in the crotch and then it gives his dick the power, not all of him, and then the dick shoots off, and that's how it gets. But he doesn't have any power. So he's looking for his dick that got the power. And he's like your main villain. Like the cow, like maybe doesn't have power, and he's just maybe he does, but maybe he's just the guy's friend and sidekick. And so the guy with the meteorite in his chest, Laser Man, has the power, and then Divine Bovine is just his buddy. You know, like I kind of like that. It's just like it's because of his proximity to it, it made him more intelligent. And then he's like donut, and he just eats bags of chips. But it's a cat, but you treat him like a boy cow, even though he has udders. And it's like a weird moment of like, wait, you're calling him dude, his name's Marvin, but he has udders. You know, like what is this? But you never answer that. Just
I'm
We never
loving this.
talked about anatomy before.
I'm totally loving this. We do need to figure out what to do with the udders.
keep him on and don't even. It's not just give him a male name, but has udders and just own it and don't explain it.
That's
The only
fair.
thing that should come up later is like if he goes like the milk donation hospital, like, you know, like donate blood, donate sperm. I'm gonna go donate milk. And they like reject him all the time because he does way too many drugs or something. Like, dude, you can't donate your milk. Little babies can't drink your milk. It's like he goes to donate it to like a milk plant, you know, and other cows are there and they're like, hey, Mark, you know, they're like sitting there. And
Can I?
he can't.
It wasn't until this pitch. First of all, Dave, thank you. This made my night. Really did. It's also enhanced the Laserverse, but I didn't come to this realization until now, until Dave was talking about this. This sounds like Smallville, doesn't it?
It's shitty Smallville. That's how
It's shitty Smallville. That's how we pitch this.
Dude, the shit guy, big shit thing, comes out of the guy's butt that was drunk, passed on the ground, goes into his butt,
Right.
and then he grows out of his butt. And then that's how he, like, dude, this all, this is it. It's Smallville, like BoJack Horseman. You know what I mean?
Yes.
BoJack Smallville.
Yes. BoJack Yes.
Ooh.
This is how we
Dude.
find this.
You know, like, even things start from other things. Like, you might even tweak the name. I'm not saying you should, but just like, he might not be a laser. He might be something else. But like, sometimes an IP like reinvents itself and becomes something bigger. And when you find out the history of it, and that's something I've always loved, and the charm of like the original He-Man toy ad where Skeletor prototype looked different, these other things look different.
Yeah.
Or like Skeletor was originally Demo Man. He was like a demon guy before he was a skull guy, and then they made like. So there's fun things about that where IP origin could have been this, and then it changed to be this other thing. But then you still have all these are the original prototypes. Laserman may or may not have been heavily visually inspired by another thing, but now here's what he looks like now. Now a name's Ben. You know?
Yeah. We've definitely we've thought about a redesign for Laserman, but maybe even shifting the focus to Mooterin.
Mooteren's pretty good, you know?
Oh man.
Yeah. Like maybe if you wanted to make it more about Mooteren, he kicks his friend in the chest, he's going through a Great Depression, then the meteorite hits and makes his friend, but he's still kind of like dumb and dead, but now he's like a strong superhero. So he's like strong and dumb, but like Mooteren's kind of like keeping him on a short leash. He's like, all right, you're the one with the superpowers, but kind of a dead idiot that just like, you know.
But it's a cow, like just a regular cow that's stringing him along.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Like on a leash, you know?
As long as you keep the cape, we're good.
Yeah. Just something like that. But then he also uses now his superhero friend. He takes advantage of him to do things like how some people have friends who are physically impaired and they're in a wheelchair. Like, hey, we should go to Disneyland together because we can cut all the lines because you're in a wheelchair. Like that's what Mooteren does with his superhero friend. He might be like, let's start a fight with a gang and see what happens. And like, they just destroy his guys. Like, this is awesome. You know?
Yes.
You can go any way with this. You tell me which way you want to go. I'll give you like, this is all right. If you want to do that, you could do this.
Dave, I got to tell you, this is if Monstars and just everything that you've talked about hasn't been a showcase of your creativity, this is another extra.
This is
the
fantastic.
chat is dying.
This is
We're
my
dying.
favorite
I love
reaction to this pitch I've heard so far, and we've done this maybe like 24 times, and this is my favorite one.
I've talked to so many people about their IPs, and I love helping people out with like actually behind the scenes. Like, so Monsters Outward Facing is an IP, Kaiju Doom's an IP. I have 5 or 6 others I'm working on that hit other slices of things I want to go for. So it's not like, oh, just here's another Playmates inspired toy line that's now their, you know, whatever. It's like, well, that's not like Monsters just reskin. I want to make it like totally different. And so I've worked with other friends like who are helping me with my stuff, like my writing partner. He has an IP he's working on. I give him, that's something I really value is, I mean, being a creative director for so long and art director and statues, like my goal with Marvel at Sideshow wasn't like reinvent Wolverine, but it's like, how do I take Wolverine and do something that might not have been done, but is still familiar and cool? And then I've gotten to push that a lot more with other things. So actually that is a genuine reaction, like your IP, because I love how wacky it is. And we need more of that. And again, like, there are things you can look for case studies where like it makes sense, like the BoJack Horseman, the Rick and Morty, like this could be Rick and Morty-esque, weird, cursing, blurbing, you know, burping all the time, random ass shit. Like some people have a great idea, and that could be like an idea within an idea. I think this is actually like a fun setup. Like you said, it's Smallville meets BoJack Horseman with a bit of Rick and Morty craziness to it, where no one's really likable. Everyone's kind of a piece of shit, but they're all like just you have to know the DNA going into it. Like I just finished watching Curb Your Enthusiasm all the way through finally because I started it years ago. Got distracted, restarted it, finally finished it. But I love Larry David's rules of like no one learns anything in this show. Like episode to episode, I don't learn anything. I love that. Like, you know, everyone's like, oh, character growth. It's like that's for some stuff, not for everything. You know?
Larry himself has never learned one lesson his entire life.
Love it. Yeah. You got away with it.
Yeah.
So I have Laserman notes on my phone, and so I took a few. Shitty.
There's a lot in there. You should take more than a few. There's like 3 dozen good ideas I just gave you for free.
So what are like just we'll think of some more of the highlights, but I said Shitty Smallville. Yimbo has one hand. I'll remember that one. Yimbo.
Now it's Yimbo. Yimbo has one hand.
Sorry, Yimbo.
It's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
I just want the legs pinching action. I want the toy action.
Oh, you want the toyetic property?
Yeah. I'd rather go sculpt and toy action piece.
I feel like that
articulation.
this would have to be like the Kickstarter goal of being like, yeah, you give us $500,000, we'll make this very.
If your dick shoots off like a rocket, I want it to be like the late 80s, early 90s G.I. Joe toy rockets from their vehicles because those were the best rockets ever.
They are.
Ask me that. Yeah.
God. Got it.
And going
Got
back to
that
what we
in
talked
mind.
about early, sculpt versus articulation, that is definitely feature over sculpt. You do whatever you need to do to make that waist have that rocket that shoots.
Yes.
Like, why does he have such a wide, like, front to back? He's so wide. It's like, so we could fit a rocket spring in there. So his dick fires, you know?
That
Yeah.
explains why
Hold
the
on,
arms are
I
so
love this.
big.
Unworthy. Yimbo's hideout is a bathroom.
There you go. You know it, guys.
So, like, instead of how Clark Kent has like a phone booth he goes into, anytime there's a porta potty or yeah, it could be your thing. Just like, or an alley because people jerk off behind dumpsters, you know, like creepily. I don't. I've heard people have done that before. This is a little bit going on
Dumbly-
different shows. Something different comes up, and you're just talking about totally different things. And then my wife's gonna be like, "You should have talked more about monsters, Mommy." But they had a great idea about this guy who's milking his best friend, and he kicks him in the chest, and he dies. And there's a hole in his chest, and a meteorite hits him, and he gets powers, and other people get hit by other meteorites. They get different powers. Did you ever read Wanted, the comic book Wanted?
Yeah, Wanted was great.
So good. Like, I love how they had the shit guy in there too that could like turn
Yeah.
the liquid shit or rock hard shit. I'm like,
Yep.
gee. Then they made the dumb movie where they only took the name and names.
There was
like,
nothing.
They're assassins. I'm like,
They curved the bullet.
so dumb. Such a good comic, such a travesty of an interpretation of movie. If people haven't read Wanted, it's like 6 issues or 8 or 12 max. It's it. It's like this much
Great.
reading of a comic book. It's so good. So good. So,
So question, Dave, just what is your favorite Laser Man character then?
well, I don't know, man. I mean, like, I don't know them enough yet to have a favorite. I like each one for different reasons. Obviously, Yimbo with the dick feature.
yeah.
We
You
were
did
talking
like
about dick bullets earlier.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about a couple weeks ago.
Right
So that's like a
there.
full circle moment. But I also love the
That
idea
was.
of Al being
That
milked as
was.
best friend. That's a good moment. So it's between those two, I think.
Wait.
Heyman's kind of funny, but like it's a
Heyman.
fun play. But the other ones I feel strongly about their stories. Like where the drunk guy falling over, meteorite goes into his butt, then a shit super monster jumps off his butt from that, you know?
Oh, so it's not even the person; it's the monster inside. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I also like the now that I can't keep. I'm still thinking about Heyman and how he looks like a serial killer. That's a pretty
Heyman
good
looks
one
like a serial killer.
because he has the head doesn't match the body.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to like fit this. Like, I
So
just love that.
the great thing about him, he could be like your. I mean, I know the shit guy is kind of already there too, but if you make him more like less of like the guy from Wanted, there's another. This is what I love about like the creative, like trying to figure out the solve. Like, hey man, a fun idea for him could be he was a guy like literally throwing barrels of hay on the farm, and then meteorite hits him when he has hay, and then he falls in the hay barrel, like the big pile of it. Then he becomes like Clayface, but hay.
Hey,
Like,
yeah.
he's like a dude. And there's a then he becomes
Hay face.
yeah, dude. Instead of it being like, I feel like people always think of like, oh, liquids and rocks and stuff like for being like a thing, like Venom symbiote or clay or whatever. It's like I like the idea of something like straw and hay being like the next Clayface like thing. That you'd be like, what? It's like he's just like Sandman, right? Sandman's great. He'd be like the hay version of him. Like, what are you? I'm Hay Man. He's in a bar. He's like, boom! And his arm explodes hay and just takes everyone out. You know. I don't know if you've ever laid in hay before. I have, and I only
It's not fun.
It's itchy as shit. So like, this is like he hits people, and then they're all like, "Ah, I'm so itchy." It's like this weird, shitty thing. Then also, hay gets really heavy. Like a hay barrel is hay. You're just like, boom, like Iceman, form a hay barrel, just drops on a dude, knocks him out. You know, like, boom. You know, yeah.
That dude looks like he beats puppies and hates children.
Which one? Hey, dude.
Hey, dudes. Hey, man. Hey,
Hey,
face.
man.
Yeah.
I like Hey Face. That's pretty good.
Hay face is good. Hay face.
Just looking at the chat, guys. Like seriously,
great thing about Hey Face,
so many good ideas out of this conversation.
You know, it sounds like I hate your face. You could be like, "What'd you say about my face?" And that's where Hey Face comes up because I hate your face. You have a very punchable face. You could have a very punchable face. Like just all those people we all know that have a punchable faces make that
Yeah.
Heyman's face. And then when he gets in his first bar fight, someone's like, I hate your face. What'd you say about my face? Then becomes Hey Face.
Ooh, I like that.
This is
I
a
like that.
play on hate. You know?
Although I did see Wake Raid said only weakness, an ember or spark.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what? That's Martian Manhunter, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
my
love that.
God.
And when you have good ideas, this is something I think a lot of people get really precious of their ideas. Hey Face, Hey Man could be a great guy. And then, that one dumb thing happens. He's on fire. He's like, "Whoa," and he just like transforms him. Like when Clayface is like going through his thing, and then he jumps into a lake. We're like, is he dead? And then you see this like pile of burnt hay just kind of like going out of the lake. And you don't know. And then obviously comes back, but he disappears for a while until you figure out his character arc. But
Seaweed. Comes back as seaweed.
No, he
creature.
comes back hidden on the farm, dressed up as a scarecrow that's hanging out on the farm. Again, he's a baddie. So now I pitched too bad. Same guy. He's still a baddie. There we go.
Yeah.
By the way, KJ Smith cracking me up. Yoink, say goodbye to your ideas. I guess that's our Kickstarter next week.
He at least has to wait 16 days. He needs to finish up his first
he's
one.
currently he's underwater.
3 going on at the same time. Give me more of your money. You know, you haven't even fulfilled the first one. I have another one. But I'm here for you. That's what I love. Like,
that's awesome.
I don't want to be like, this is my idea. It's more like you have a great world to play. I actually think you have something so ludicrous, you should refine it.
Okay.
This is
I don't say that lightly. I would be like, it's fun, guys. Yeah, haha, cool. I'm like, no, I'm invested in this. You know,
I freaking
feel
love
it,
it.
Chris? I feel it. Dude, this is I love it. I love it. This is
don't forget
a kick in the pants for us.
Who helped? Don't you
That's
dare.
right.
Oh, are you kidding me? This is gonna live on for this. This would be the thing we
David Finch helped.
David Finch, he's the good artist we talked to. That's who it was. We have the same hairstyle too, so we're very confused.
Yes.
Like, we get confused together all the time. Yeah.
Oh,
I love that you narrowed down the pitch to be like BoJack Horseman, Smallville, and Rick and Morty. That's what we need, Chris. Remember the pitch.
I'll remember it because Samurai Chris already commented shitty Smallville.
Shitty Smallville. I love it.
That's something like people get really weird by is like their own creations have to be 100% theirs. And when I had Shamumu out that first designer con, people were like, oh, Street Sharks, I love Street Sharks. And I wasn't offended. They didn't know like, oh, Steam Cobra's my next, even though I had art for it. They didn't know like, hey, Street Sharks doesn't own, water characters with big arms. Like, I mean, Street Sharks are like huge heads with like arms coming out of their heads, basically, with little tiny legs. And mine is like not that proportional. And also, Shaman just happens to be from the water, but he's also an animal hybrid. And it's more He-Man, Ninja Turtles inspired, and Street Sharks and Extreme Bouncers, a little bit of it. But I didn't mind that people were like, oh, it's this. And I would always pitch as like, it's He-Man meets Ninja Turtles, but they're more tribal with a little bit of Game of Thrones in the storytelling. Like Game of Thrones light is what I call it. And I think the thing that helps with stuff like that is it helps people feel connected with it right away. And then also the more people have, like when you actually get to a point, if you ever do get this to a point where you want to pitch it, people that have no time for you, that could be a producer or whatever, they want the quickest pitch possible. And the more you can be like, it's this thing meets this thing with a dash of this, it's like, oh, that's a successful IP. That's a successful IP. And that's how you're making it different. That means it's going to connect with these audiences and we know how to market it already and successful. So like, I don't shy away from what Monsters is. It's like an 80s, 90s love letter. He-Man meets Ninja Turtles meets this with the reskin of this. And when I tell people that, they haven't even seen it, they're like, I can see what it is. And when I show them that, they're like, yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, shitty Smallville meets BoJack Horseman, Rick and Morty. There you go. Like, I think people would be like, dude, I get it. And then when you start to talk about the character, you're setting the expectations. Like no one likes to go to, like a I don't know, like there's gonna be a weird analogy. You don't just go to a party you know nothing about. It's like, oh, there's gonna be a Hollywood party at this one guy's house that's rich and he might be a swinger. All right, cool. It might be a sex party. I don't know. At least I have an idea of what I'm getting into. Maybe, like
What? Wait, hold on. Where are we going with this one? What is this analogy?
yeah, it's for your IP pitch. You want to give
Okay,
people an idea
got
of where you're going with it. So if you say it's this meets this meets this,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, now I know. Then when you start to explain it, you're setting expectations for what it is. You're not like, I mean, for us, it's fun. I didn't know where you're going with it, and I'm along for the ride. But if I was like a big time producer and I'm like, all right, you have 10 seconds.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
yeah.
You
No,
have to
I know what you're
explain
saying.
the
I know what you're
pitch,
saying.
So
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, that's been the ongoing joke that my pitch is like way too long. And
I was gonna say that has to be the longest version of the pitch I've heard in a very long time.
True. And
I
highly
did interrupt him a
articulated.
couple times though, so there was that.
But at the same time, like I know Dave, like he likes good stories, so I want to at least explain some of the story to him.
And I'm an IP genius. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like I mean, just like I had
That
to
too.
really take it in and absorb it. And
No, it's true. And then you gave us, shitty Smallville, which I freaking love.
And I love the idea of Mooder and Laserman being like having like a mice and men type feel.
Yes,
It's a
like
great reference. Yes,
yes,
dude.
yes.
Like
Big, strong
nothing's better than
hero.
that twist of expectations, like the end of season 1 of Game of Thrones where Ned Stark dies and like anything's
Yeah.
possible, or the end of a first episode where you think like this is like, oh, this is gonna be my Superman character. And then he's the big dumb dead one. And it's like, oh, he's not the main character. He's like the cow is the main character. Like,
Yeah.
like that could be, not saying it should be the main character or anything, but just like sometimes the setup could be one thing and then it like doink doink. You're just like, whoa, this
Yeah.
changes what it is completely in the best way possible. So I love that shit.
Like I think Dumb Laserman led by Normal Cow as I believe that was Finn Cobb. I like that feel because that could like I'm thinking more like I don't know what type of IP this would be, but just kind of like a adventures where the cow it's the cow just thinking and is problem solving throughout this whole thing, and then him and his Dumb Laserman are just on these weird adventures where Dumb Laserman and them just have to get through them.
They like accidentally stumble into these things with these other superheroes
Yes.
or villains, and it's like episodic, like, but then there's like a loose through line, but then every episode's like a dumb different villain that they run into again, or a hero that accidentally kills a bunch of people or hurts a bunch of people or accidentally gets a bunch of people stoned. Like, oh, I'm weed man because I was smoking weed and this thing hit me. Now whenever I fart, I just emit tons of weed smoke cloud, and then everyone around me gets high as fuck. They all become dumb. It's kind of like in Ultimate X-Men, they had this character that would like just anyone within like a 1 mile radius would die, and then they sent Logan to go like
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Logan can regenerate. And so like it's like that, but like you're making it a funny thing, like, oh, I emit weed smoke every time I fart, and I'm really gassy because I love eating burritos. And just like that, he's not a bad guy. He just accidentally like affects this whole place. And by the way, that's another free character if you want to use him. But
Weed
like,
Man.
funny.
But that would be a perfect episode because let's say we have all these other episodes ahead of it where it's the cow Mooderin who's got him out of all the situations, but this one we need Laserman to get out because Mooderin is now dumb from Weed Man, and so but Laserman's now that's baseline. He's baseline, so he's like already a step ahead of him.
Weed Man name could be Crop Duster.
Dude, that's
yes.
Done. Lock it in.
Write those in the notes.
It,
Yes.
register.
Crop Duster.
Dude. Yes. 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 Yes.
Hot damn.
God damn, that's
Well
so
done.
good.
We knew
Well
we kept
done,
you around,
fellas.
No Chewing. Earlier, we were talking about not having you on the show because you were the last one to like really log in. We're like, we should keep him around. You might have a good idea for this.
Crop
next
Duster. Brilliant.
I love it.
Oh man.
So good.
So monsters are cool, right?
Yeah, so monsters.
are freaking amazing, man. Are you kidding me? I really like. I would love. Let's see. Have this gone up at all? While
It's gone up a little bit.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I try not to look at that as much as possible, just because
Well, no,
otherwise
you
you'll
know.
just be sitting there all day hitting refresh. You know what I mean? So
Hey, it's a nice little feather in our cap if we get to see the needle move. Nice.
What's like a
nice, yeah, right.
healthy amount that you like look at this every day? Once a day?
twice. I try to do less, but then I'm just like, sometimes I do more. My mom's always texting me. She's hitting refresh on it like every 30 seconds. I'm like, Mom, leave me alone. You know? So, yeah. That's it.
Well, this is definitely. I mean, again, guys, if you're out there, this is such an incredible project,
Do it.
and I mean, like I said, I can't wait to get these guys in hands. I know a lot of our friends out there, in the Toy Pick community, like this is a little bit of a departure from like a Marvel Legend or a Mafex, but the fact that these are going to be so beautifully photogenic, and then there's the actual fun play side of this, which I think is going to be, again, just such a win for us
Thanks.
as collectors.
And I think that's where the glow in the dark and the translucent, and then even the character variant, because you can pop and swap some of the arms and whatever, it's gonna make for a lot of fun.
Hey everyone.
Oh, that's the talk. That's the dumb
Oh,
talking
that's a
head
talk-
video.
that's a
You don't
talk-
want that one.
I just wanted to play,
Was
even
a bash
even with the
bash.
sound
we
off.
can end with the commercial if you guys want to, but like if you go down a little bit, I just did an update. I forgot if that was this morning or yesterday, but I was like, hey, here's other characters in the future, like right there.
Oh
you
yeah,
just-
yeah. Boom.
That was like a recent one where we kind of flashed it for a quick second in the talking head video, but I want to kind of like remove a couple characters I'm still figuring out, just make it a little bit more tight on these ones I felt were more fleshed out. And I'm really happy with a lot of the names, like some of the names I come up with, like Escar Bro was one that my
Yes,
wife's best
yeah.
friend
that just
came up
jumped
with.
out.
Yes.
Good one.
Yeah, and then some of the names are kind of dumb, but like I'm really partial to Hammer Claw. But then the Hippo Rhino guy, we didn't have his name on the talking head video. If you go through the like at one point you look and you hit pause, you'll see like it has other characters, and the Rhino character with the hippo is there, and his name's Crash Tuskhorn. And I never liked it. It was like a placeholder name. I'm like, something else has got to work. And yesterday when I was getting ready to send out this update, I was like, I gotta have a name for this guy. I don't want Crash Tuskhorn. I gotta figure out this name. Gotta figure out this name. So I was writing hippopotamus, rhino. I'm like, all right. I was thinking of like, God, what's that Adam Sandler movie? Like, is it Big Daddy? Where Rob Schneider's character's like hip hop anonymous.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah.
love it. So I was trying to break up the hippo, and I was, Opotamus is kind of a funny name. Opotamus, that's like Optimus Rhine, like Optimus Prime, Optimus Rhine. Like I was like,
yeah,
like just came up with that name yesterday morning, right before I posted
that's
this. I'm
cool.
like so happy with that name. I'm not good with puns, but that one I was really proud of. So
I love
Crocodile
Ben.
was real easy, but what?
I love Ben Nom Nom.
My
Yeah.
writing partner Eric came up with that name. Erwin Papa, the artist, like one of the main concept artists I work with, we came up with the idea of like the color combo and the new head. And originally he was gonna have the unique hand and weapon, but I'm like, no, Steam Cobra needs that hand and weapon too. So now they both come with it. The only thing different is the head sculpt and then the paint. But my writing partner Eric, who's helped me with all this stuff, he gave me a list of names, and Bulltooth and Van Nom Nom stuck. And some other names, I forget which one he's helped me out with on other ones too. A lot of different people help out with names, and I forget. So
Woolly Ramoth is great. They're all great. These are all
Woolly
great.
Ramoth is the one I'm looking forward to.
Woolly Ramoth was my cousin's idea. So he was visiting like a year and a half ago, or like a year ago. He flew into town he's like, cousin Dave. He's younger than me by like 6-8 years. I forget the age, but he's younger. But he's like, dude, I'm gonna be in town in LA for a Dragon Ball card game tournament. Can I crash with you? I'm like, you play? I didn't even know there's a card game for Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball Z. Oh my god, we're gonna bond over Dragon Ball Z. I'm like, yeah, come stay with me. So he stayed with me. He saw the Monsters stuff. He knew like it's two animals, dumb pun names. And so when he got back, he was talking with I forgot if they were fiance then or married, but his wife, like, dude, and he sent me 3 different names. This is the first one. Like, he's like Woolly Ramoth. I'm like, I see it in my head already. Done.
Yeah.
We designed it. He got moved up, and originally, like, we had a bunch of characters before him, but now Woolly Ramoth to me is like if I do a wave 2 after that, which I think this will fund, I think it'll be successful. To me, wave 2 would be Woolly Ramoth, Berserker, and Bone Picker. Like as the next Kickstarter campaign. So add a 3rd unique character, then find the color variants, make sense. But it's just funny how like I had like 8 other ideas before when the woolly mammoth like cut the line like a person in a wheelchair at Disneyland, just like, oh, I'm going to the front, special treatment. So I just love how that came together.
So good. Yeah, well done,
Thanks.
man.
Thanks. Yeah, there's a little quick menu for all the different variants, like the main characters, the unique heads, then the paint swaps. I wanted Shamumu and Sting Cobra colors and Sting Cobra and Shamumu colors. I thought that'd be a fun way to like, if you mix and match, then they can stay the same color.
Yes.
That's cool.
I know a lot of people love glow in the dark, so we did injection glow in the dark. And then my production partner, Chris Garwich, who's works for the Four Horsemen Studios, does all their production stuff. He had his own Kickstarter, I think it was earlier this year or last year, called Biblical Adventures.
Oh, yeah.
He's helping me with my China production on these things. He's like, you gotta do a Kickstarter exclusive. You should do clear blue for Shamumu and clear green for Sting Cobra, and that's it. I'm like, he's like, people love translucent. I'm like, all right, cool. So we did it, and it's a fun thing. And I like the idea too of like I was gonna do like a gray unpainted one, but then there's so much weird, vivid color in this world. The idea of there being like a 0 color character, I'm like, so I view these like translucent ones as like the unpainted one. I have an idea for an unpainted one that might come up sooner and later, but like I love that. And then if you get blue Shamu when you love it, then you have regular Shamu, you can swap their arms. It's like water arm, or something.
Yeah.
So
that's a good call. That's a good call.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, we try to make it where it's like you buy one figure if you only want one. It's a price. It's $55 through the Kickstarter. It's $59.99 on Big Bad Toy Store. And then through us, you get an additional discount if you get 2 figures. So $55.55, but it's $99. So you save $11.
Mhm.
And then if you buy a couple sets, it goes down price even more. So then there's these all-in bundles that keep like giving you discounts on discounts on discounts. It's like literally the cheapest way you can get it. But then something that I'm really proud of, and if you go to the middle thing and scroll down a little bit, that one. Not too far, but yeah, so there's Shamumu, and I try to show the parts it comes with. Then there's Sting Cobra, and then there's like the sets after that. I talked about this one, the donation set for kids. This is one where we price it even cheaper, and my margins are like super thin. Like this is one I'm actually losing money on until I move a certain quantity of units. So if I only hit 120,000, I only make so many figures, I might actually lose $2 for every these donation sets I do, which is a risk I'm willing to do. But I made this an option in case there is someone who is doing well financially and they don't like the toys, but they like me or the thing and they just want to see it succeed. Then it's like you can buy a donation set and we'll donate it to children's hospitals, Toy for Tots, or anything like that. So if you're doing okay financially, you're looking for a way just like help out and give back. Like this will literally be something you buy, I take it and I give it to kids. That's awesome. Then if I do get my quantities up, my unit costs come down and I actually make money on this tier, all the extra dollars from this tier, I'll buy more charity gift sets and gift them to more kids. Wow. So literally not a single dollar from that tier goes into my pocket or anyone else's. It's like all for kid charities. Cause I love the idea of like kids being able to enjoy these things that might not normally be able to, because I know they're not cheap. They're not available at Walmart, but there might be some kid out there that just like didn't. I was very fortunate. I have an awesome family. I love my parents, not a broken home. My dad was in the military, so he had finances to support us, and I was able to have like awesome Christmases as a kid. I know a lot of people didn't like have that. I know now they're adults, and so I know there's kids now that could use that same kind of like happiness that a lot of us were fortunate enough to have. So I want to try my best. So that's a thing I try to promote as much as I can. I want people, to just realize like this is a huge thing that is meaningful for me. I really want to make that part go viral. If anyone's like, this is cool, not for me. If you can just let people know it exists and that there's this donation set that's available, like that'd be awesome. So
that caught my eye. So I'm glad you brought it up, because that was going to be something I was going to make sure I asked you about, because seeing that before scrolling through, like, yeah, that's really awesome, Dave. So
thanks,
love that, man. And again, like, I love this. You even have it here. Like these are for the kids.
Yeah, these are for you.
Yeah, these are going to be for the kids, and that's again just a great message. And again, it helps. Like this is, it's so important. So
thanks.
Well done.
Then also, for every 20 sets I sell, excluding retailer, wholesale, and all-in bundles, because I'm already giving like heavy discounts on those. But if like someone buys Shamumu, another guy buys Sting Cobra, I consider that a set. Or if they buy the set, for every 20 sets of figures we sell, I'm going to donate a set additionally. So like, even if you buy a donation set goes to kids, if you don't buy a donation set, you buy a set, like that goes towards my count of, hey, this is going to come out of my pocket and I'll donate to kids too.
Wow.
Yeah. So no pressure unless you're a jerk, I guess. No. Do you hate kids? Then this is not for you.
Oh, I just saw Wade say that he loves the teal, purple, and the black. I mean, honestly, all of these colors you really nailed. And did I
Yeah,
see
that
something
King
that you're
Cobra color is
colorblind?
awesome.
Is that a thing that I saw today?
What?
I was
What?
doing a little research about, or is that not you, Dave? Is that you?
The what? Sorry, what was the question?
Are you colorblind? Did I
Yeah.
read that on the internet? Okay.
Yeah. So Erwin Papa came up with the color design on these things. I mean, I could see color. And then Chia Zuma, she's a full-time painter at Sideshow. She's one of the best painters in the world. She painted these for me. And she has great, like with Erwin's art, like Shamumu was like heavy black ink than this lighter teal. So when you actually sampled that lighter teal and you paint him that way, he looked weirdly bright. So she helped me find like what's the right color for this toy color. So I can tell like, oh, he's either dark blue or dark, like something in the cooler spectrum, as wouldn't be able to be like, oh, that's definitely teal. You know what I mean? Like I know the starfish is blue because it looks blue. So colors on the spectrum, if they like get really close with each other, they overlap for me. And so like bright greens and like Sting Cobra, I know is green, but it sounds like actually he's mustard yellow. I'd be like, that makes sense. It looks like it could be mustard yellow. You know what I mean? So I'm like there on the spectrum. I could tell like the little camel spider. I'm like, he could be dark blue or purple to me. You know, I know he's not red. I know he's not green. I know he's not magenta, but he looks like he's in that spectrum of blue or purple. So
got it. No, that's just fact because one of our friends is a toy photographer, and like when that came out, we were like, "Wow, wait, really, man?" Like, and then of course it's it's kind of like when the Spider-Mans all got together, and it's like, so it comes out of you, or you don't have web shooters? Like, how does that work? Yeah. I just out of curiosity, like, because again, like the colors of all of these they're vivid, they pop, they complement each other.
Thanks.
Yeah. So again,
so you're also supporting a handicapped person. You know, I am colorblind, so you're supporting me in my struggle. No, I'm kidding. That's bad. That's gonna be the one thing that gets me in trouble in the show. But I did. I'm very fortunate. Like people are like, how can you tell when you're driving a car what color light is? I'm like, top is red.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm not an idiot. You know, it's like
My dad's also colorblind. And when I found out he was colorblind, I was in like middle school. I was like, how can you tell? He's like, the top is red. That's it.
Yeah. How can you tell what crayon you're using? I can read the label. That's actually how my parents found out, is when I got down to the bottom label of a crayon and you keep peeling it. And then I'm like, Mom, what color is this? She's like, what? It's red. Mom, what color is this one? Blue. What are you asking me this for? Found out I'm colorblind. Me and my twin brother too were both.
Oh, really?
There. Oh yeah, we both got it.
Wow,
My parents have horrible genes. Horrible. Made me colorblind.
Oh,
yeah. Then there's
I just keep going back and forth. Yeah, the color swaps. Because like you're saying, the swap ability. So being able to get one of like each color. Oh, wow. Man, again, just the arms and just being able to do all of that. That's very tempting.
I try to make the variants meaningful, not just like, and here. You know, I'm trying to like, originally there's like 8 different things I was thinking of for each character just to have options. You know, like when you work in production, for a statue, design 30 things where maybe you go into sculpt on 12 things and 10 things get released or something. You know what I mean? You like start wide and you narrow your way in. Inside a bunch of different ideas for color variants, it's like, these just don't make sense. I whittled it down. And even I almost merged the glow in the dark with the translucent idea, just make it like a glow blue. But then I'm like, no, people like translucent. People like this Super 7 NECA injected glow with like a limited color palette. So tonal. So I'm like, no, I'm going to keep those separate. But with the color swap, I always thought that'd be a cool idea to see Shamumu with Sting Cobra's arm and Shamumu colors. So I'm like, what would a whole figure look like? What would Shamumu look like in Sting Cobra colors? That would be weird. And so some people I've talked to, like that's actually their preferred version of the characters, like Sting Cobra and Shamumu colors. One of my buddies said to me, was like, dude, that green Shamumu is like the best. I'm like, yeah, it's just color swap. I didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I'm a color genius. I'm an idea genius.
I love the way he looks.
I do
Staying
like
over
the way
blue.
Yeah, I agree. I think for at least for me, the way he
Yeah.
goes, get the
They
the
both
blue
look-
Shamumu and then the Sting Cobra in this color.
Thanks. Yeah, and those are also just I put there. They're digital mock-ups are work in progress. It's not like, oh, that's exactly what it's going to look like. It's
Mhm.
like the goal, and then things might change because the factory might be like, we can't do this, so this is what's going to be. And then as soon as that happens, I'll let people know. But the
Yeah.
intention is make it look as close to that as possible. You know,
Mhm.
So for the glow in the dark one, because we see a render what it looks like kind of when it's not at like night or like it's just sitting on your desk during the day. What's the other color?
I don't
Is it
know yet. So that's going to be the
black?
fun part to figure out with everyone. It's going to be like, I want to talk to the factory. So what they do, they might give me back a sample and then I'll know, like, 'cause it's going to be a limited color palette. So like if Shamumu standard figure, I don't know the exact color hits, but let's say it's like 8, this might be like 4. You know what I mean? So this is like, it's going to be limited. Just like when you look at the Super 7 slash that glows in the dark versus the Super 7 normal slash. It might be about the same color hits, but like the colors are different, you know? So I want this to be like when it's not glowing, like when it's just normal, I want it to look different and fun, you know? And whether or not it's monochromatic between him and Sting Cobra, I'm not totally sure. I might do that. It might be the same 4 colors for each of them, just like you have your dark color, then your glow, and then 3 in betweens, and maybe all the glow in the dark characters share the same color palette. That's something I'm kind of entertaining,
cool.
just so that it's like a consistency. Might be kind of cool. You know, I like that when I see like certain things and they kind of like have a commonality, a commonest.
I was gonna say because if it's black and it's for a Venom Nom, that kind of gives you that Venom, tone to it. If it's
Yeah.
the only color on there is black.
Yeah, that might be cool.
And I just had a question here. Injected with glow. So I know that there are toys that glow in the dark now, but I guess I don't own any that. What does that mean? Injected with glow.
So it's actually like the material, the plastic itself, it has like a glow powder in it. So it's like inherently glow. It's not like a paint you apply that glows, right?
Got it.
So
Got it.
you inject the whole thing, it's one color and it all glows, and whatever you paint on top of it becomes more and more opaque. So like
Mhm.
with Shamumu, he'd be like injected, so all the white would be not painted. Then I would paint the dark top, so it's like less glow. You know?
Okay. Oh, that's neat. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for that. I was
totally.
just curious, like, because I know these exist. I've seen buddies like their videos, but yeah, without having one in hand, I was curious.
You should get like just find one of your favorite characters. Like this looks cool. Like I always try to think of, like what characters make sense with like a toxic. I don't know if you like Toxic Crusaders, but Super 7 has like a glow in the dark Toxic Crusader or glow in the dark Baxter Stockman because I think of him as like a mutant or something. Like find one that's cool and then just have them. And it's fun when you forget you have them, then you leave the room and you turn off the lights. It's like burn. It's like what the shit. You forget he's there.
Dave, you're a Motu guy, so is the Scare Glow from the Motu Origins, is that the same or no?
Yeah, he glows.
Because that's a glow because I was like, wait a minute, I've messed with that guy. So is that the same concept of manufacturing?
I think he's injection glow, and I think all the black is like a decal.
Yeah.
I can't remember on that one exactly.
So maybe I have one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's the best example.
Yeah,
but
no,
he might be. I just can't remember off the top of my head. He's
no worries.
Up here somewhere, but
yeah, highly articulated. It says translucent. What is it? The glow plastic with paint overlay, please. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. That's what's gonna be done. Send it to China.
Josh Brown, you should do a poll, Dave.
No.
Only because I am interested in the little buddies that come with the figures. Each one of those characters would come with their own. Like on if we scroll up to the page layout, like Wooly Mammoth.
Oh, Wooly Mammoth doesn't have one yet, so he'll get a unique one. But like Sting Cobra Shamumu would get a unique one, and then their variants all share the same one, just different paint colors. So I didn't want to come up with like a whole new tooling for Venom Nom or Bulltooth. They share the same starfish and camel spire. But yeah, when I get to Berserker, he'll have his own little buddy. When I get to Woolly Mammoth, he'll have his own unique sculpted buddy. Bone Picker actually has 2 little buddies, so that'll be fun. He gets 2. Yeah, so each one, I don't think there's gonna be an exception. I think every single one I ever make, and I don't want to 100,000% confirm this, but right now in my head, I want every single one to come with a buddy. I just want that. So
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
yeah,
And
cool.
this was also a pledge point too. Here we go.
Yeah, originally it was just an add-on. If you wanted, I had a few people who collect like Keshi figures. They want to be able just to buy these guys. So instead of making it only an add-on, I made it a pledge to.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And they're coming to flesh tone. So it's like classic muscle figures, classic Keshi. It's like Keshi flesh tone colorway is what we're calling it.
Yeah. That's very neat.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, dude, this is so good. This whole conversation has been amazing. We didn't even talk toy photography, which I'm okay with. Again, not to
We'll save it.
Well, yeah, because this could be part of our little
Mondays
Toy Daddy thing that we'll, that we will make sure we honor the top 10 from the last 2 weeks, guys. We've just had 2 amazing Daves. We've had 2 great Daves. Dave, this has been seriously freaking awesome, man.
Thanks.
And I can't wait until you cross the finish line because you're absolutely getting this funded. And,
thanks.
Are
you guys gonna put the link in the comments or in the description or whatever? I don't know how. I have to remember to promote, like, find me on Kickstarter, you know? And
no.
Link in the comments. And
I got the link right now. I'll drop this in the chat.
Just in case people don't know. I like to think they know, but there might be a few people who are watching like, who's this guy? What does he do? What's this Monsters thing?
Well, why don't you tell?
Huh?
Where can we find you, Dave?
Yeah, mainly Instagram. So at the Monsters. So not monsters, but monsters. Because it's or this, or this, or this. And you know, for the swappability, the pop and swap, as you said earlier. You know, so it's at the Monsters because someone already had Monsters jerk. So it's their Facebook. I have a Twitter, but I'm bad at it. So it's like there's a landing page basically with like major updates, but the main stuff I'm active on is Instagram, Facebook, which it seems like what most toy collectors use. So the company name is Igo Stuff. That's my like Nintendo. And then Monsters is my Mario, and Kaiju Doom is going to be my Zelda. And then I have ideas for like Metroids and all that stuff. So my YouTube channel is Igo Stuff because that's where the toy commercial lives. If you don't see it on the Kickstarter page, which it's very much there, I try to make everything as easy to get to as possible. But Igo Stuff is kind of like the umbrella for that. Kaiju Doom, these Monster Mash and Dino Mash things I'm working on. So, which are like my artist one-offs. I'm working with different friends. So those 2 things right there. You can see the dinosaur made a dinosaur and the monster made a monsters. And yeah, so Igo Stuff is like the bigger company just right now. Monsters Kickstarter is like my focus. And yeah, so Instagram, like, so on the Monsters Instagram, it's like, oh, an Igo Stuff brand. And the Kickstarter link, I try to make it all easily interconnected, not a confusing mess, which it can easily become. So yeah, love that Jack Nicholson face gif right there.
Boy Josh Brown. Oh man. Did we answer his question? So all the little buddies have butt cheeks?
Oh
no, the Camel Spire doesn't have it. Just the Starfish has the butt cheeks.
Okay.
Right. So he has his little.
Oh my god, that's
this
awesome.
is the one to get, people. This is the one to get.
Yeah, he's got butt cheeks. But the Camel Spider sadly does not have butt cheeks, but he has a knife behind his back because he's a backstabber. So it's like maybe each one should have a secret on the back, like Starfish has a butt, he has a knife. Ooh, maybe that's the through line.
That's a good.
Yeah.
There you go.
He has like his 3 arms, like, come at me, bro. What up, bro? What up, bro? It's because like, oh, that's where the fourth arm is, knife on his back. You know.
Oh, yeah, I like that. I like the secret little like surprise back there. That's good.
Yeah, now
that's
I got to think like, man, for every single one, that's hard. I'm not gonna commit to that, but it might work. These 2 just have to have a butt and a knife. Well, it'd be easy because I can just give things butts.
That's true.
If I run out of an idea, I'm like, butt.
butt.
Or a rat tail, like a little gross
True.
rat. Like, this character looks cool. You turn around, ew, he has a rat tail. Just like
Or because these are just like random creatures, double butt. This one has 2 butts.
or like Total Recall, where it's 3 cheeks, so it's the 2 butt cracks. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Side
Oh,
butt.
I like that one.
yeah. That
Total
might be a
rebut.
better character for Laserman universe. Someone gets hit in the
Total
side of their
rebut?
butt and just like
Total
knocks their butt
rebut?
over, like
Total-
like these things in an office, and just be like douche and
Yeah.
creates like a 3rd butt cheek on the side.
I don't know if you heard Total Rebut.
It's good. Who was that? Was that who said that? Who did I miss? Who said Total Rebut? Was that you?
I did.
Nice. I didn't know if you
Total
said like
Rebut.
someone else said it, and I was, but Total Rebut's good.
It's rare.
That could be a whole nother IP, just a world of butts.
Oh my god.
On Mars.
And then in Idiocracy, eventually we'll just all be watching movies of farting.
Yeah. I saw that movie in the theater when I came to California for my first job. Like, I drove out from Colorado Springs with my best friend in the car, and he had a family thing to go to in Northern California. So he drove out with me to LA and then flew up to San Francisco and then flew back home. But we get here and it's like Idiocracy in the movie theater. We have to go see this. That was like literally the first movie I saw when I moved to California. It's funny.
I do love that movie. Oh man.
Dave, can I just say it's been like such a pleasure to talk to you on this show. Like, you are so goddamn creative and like so full of energy and just really refreshing to talk to because of your just attitude and your positive attitude. And that's, we really try to make sure we have a positive toy community here. And you just really brought the joy today. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks.
Oh,
it's
dude.
fun thank you for the opportunity to talk about my stuff, but also it's great getting to know you guys.
Yeah.
And then this curveball of Laser Man, which when you first said it, I was envisioning like a Mega Man character. Like, oh, he's gonna have big boots and big hands and big head, and he shoots lasers.
Oh, yeah, like what are these?
Yeah. Dude. And it was not that. And because there's a whole bizarre side to like what I do. I mean, monsters are bizarre in a fun, calculated way, but I do this thing called Daily Draw every February with some friends. And I always try and make like bizarre, weird, dumb shit for it. And this was meaningful to me because it was very enriching in that weird, bizarre way. And I love it. So
Oh man, it means so much because really, like, it was just an off thing that I talked about on a stream, and then our community really helped with all of the villains and sculpting out the Laserverse and these guys, and it really is like you said, like, people take their characters and this was just a community effort of like the Toy Daddies. So
yeah. Well, I mean, like Mike Mignola created Hellboy as like just a joke. Like, it was just like Hellboy. It wasn't like this calculated thing. Like, this is my future. He drew. I think it was like a convention poster thing or something. I think is how that started. There's a new documentary for Mike Mignola's life, which is great. He talks about, but like, it doesn't have to be a plan. Like, dude, there's no way Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird are like, we have the next $1 billion idea. They're just like, dude, what if Ninja Turtles, like turtles, there's mutants, swords, like, it's like, then they just drew a comic in their like house on whatever paper, you know what I mean? It's like, wasn't this planned thing? And it's like, now it's one of the biggest IPs ever, So, not saying Laserman's the next Ninja Turtles, but it could be the next BoJack Horseman.
That's true. I'll take that any day.
With a couple seasons on Netflix, you know what I mean? It could be.
We will take one season on Netflix.
Yeah. This is concept art from our boy No.Chewing, who is a wonderful artist as well. So
we had Harry Moore on, and he does all the retro package, or he does most of the retro packaging for Marvel Legends.
Oh,
so
cool.
I took one of his packages and I drew what I thought Laserman was. And what you said, I envisioned it as a Mega Man character. But now I'm thinking, mice and men. So has to go for a redo.
I think this character, visually right here, could be the Toy Daddy. Toy Daddy.
Could be. I like. Yeah.
Really good.
Yep.
Just give him like a little more of a dad bod and a sweet mustache and it's like that.
Yeah.
And it's a robot because robots are cool. But it's like, what is this? Like, it's Toy Daddy. You know?
Toy Daddy's a robot.
Have you ever been called a wealth of creative information, Dave? Yeah.
I was having a talk with actually, yes. It was very flattering. I was talking with one of my favorite artists who's going to help me with some freelance on another thing. And he's a guy I look up to and he's now become a buddy and a supporter, but I didn't know him. I was just a fan. I'm like, can we please do something together? So I carved out like an hour of his time to kind of show him everything I was up to behind the scenes. And I forgot his exact wording. I wrote down somewhere, but it's basically what you just said. And like so many words from him. And I was like, I'm so like, just, because it's like, he's a guy I look up to, you know, I'm like, I got this from him, you know, it's like when Eric Treadaway was like, from the Four Horsemen was like, I want your toys, your work with Chris and he's going to produce them. And I want them. Says that you're going to make them. I'm like, oh, it makes me hearing that from them, then hearing that from you and other strangers and people, it just makes me feel like I'm not crazy. Like I have something special here that I'm special, you know, real. No, I'm kidding. But it's like, it feels good that I'm not like crazy to have something here and it's connecting with people. I'm connecting with people because that's what I want. I'm not here to like showboat or whatever. It's like, I have this thing. I'm excited about it. Hopefully you're excited about it. And it's not just this thing. It's me and there's more to me and there's more to the team I work with and here are the things they're up to and sharing it and spreading it and like, oh, what are you up to? Oh, let's talk about your thing's great too. Like, how do we all help each other rise? You know? And I feel like there's not enough of that. A lot of people like out for themselves and I don't know. So this is going to become a whole nother talk. I'm going to start crying uncontrollably because I'm emotional.
So were we. Oh my god! I was welling up watching a Bluey episode this morning. I was like, I have to go to work. What am I doing?
The Creek gets me every time.
Every time.
Man. Thank you. That means a lot, Yimbo.
Yeah,
seriously.
no, incredibly, seriously, dude. And again, everybody, we will. So please go check out Monsters on Kickstarter. The link is in here. We'll put in the description all of the things. Go check out Dave Igo's his work, his pages. We just had everything up. Everything brings back to Dave. So and that's awesome, man. So
Dave, awesome.
As it should.
I just have one more question.
Yeah.
Is there ever a situation
for Yimbo or no
for everyone? Is there ever a situation where chicken breast is greater than the chicken thigh?
No.
Unite my toy collectors, photographers, and more. We had some fun tonight, but we're out of pictures to explore. We thank you for your time. It was nothing but sublime. Though it's time to go to bed, don't be filled with dread. Because next week we'll be right here. Your toy daddies will appear to bring you joy and laughter every night and here on after.